What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to our cast tonight. I am your host, eXtine. We have some fabulous TF2 ahead of us. It is Ascent Gaming versus Feint Gaming, and this BO3 for the RGL.GG Season 2. This is the quarterfinals. Ascent as the 4 seed, Feint Gaming as the 3rd seed, and I am joined by the fabulous Rogue. How are you doing, Rogue?
I am doing wonderful, eXtine. Thank you.
Apparently I've been dropping yow bombs and everybody getting their ears blown out, but that's just the power of the yow sometimes. And Rogue, my co-caster, he is a strong virile member of the TF2 community, so he was not harmed, thankfully not harmed. And I'm really happy to have you here with me tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really great game, and I'm excited to see what these teams are able to do, especially getting to see a full best of 3.
Yeah, and it really gives us the full spread of the Prolander style with the King of the Hill, and then payload and payload. And actually, how we're going to run things tonight is the King of the Hill is going to be the first to 3. The first payload map, as that crucial second map, is going to be a full best of 3 sets. And then that third map, so that we don't play all night, but we get things over with, is just going to be a single round. So I think that's a really good, fair way to run things over. And as I yammer about the format here, we're actually pretty far into the bans. And those bans, the Machina are default ban. No other default bans at the moment. Feint Gaming also, due to a technicality which we can get into a little bit more, is the home team for this entire series. The first ban was Tomislav, followed up by Gunslinger, and then Natasha, Short Circuit, Darwin's Danger Shield, and the Wrangler. Our first save is going to be the gunboats. Your thoughts so far, Rogue?
Looking right at the beginning here with Ascent banning the Tomislav and Natasha, they're clearly going after Carson, who's a very, very good heavy, and that definitely makes sense coming from them. And then, Feint Gaming returning going after Engineer right away, making sure that they don't have the Wrangler and Gunslinger being too much of a nuisance.
Yeah, and then the gunboat saved, not the biggest, interesting, the biggest boost on this map. And we have the Rescue Ranger, one of the not banned out items. So looks like Engineer still being planned, but will be stuck on the default sentry guns. Dragon's Fury, the new Pyro rocket launcher, banned out, so not going to be able to run around town with that. That's definitely a powerful weapon for Pyro on this map.
Yeah, I'm interested. Well, we're not interested exactly. Maybe more curious why Feint Gaming would save the gunboats, because players like Patty coming a little bit later, but even Mela in the meantime, I'm sure Ascent wouldn't ban the gunboats,
Right.
I also like that Ascent goes to save the Gunslinger despite all. Oh, sorry, goes to save the Rescue Ranger despite all the other NG weapons being banned.
Yeah, Night Band Girardi, fairly commonly disliked item, just super powerful for surprisingly shutting down pushes. And the crit screen getting banned as well, so limiting the medics options. And that can be a powerful weapon on this map as well. So just trying to take away that element of surprise crit screen can bring out.
Yeah, you look at Nursey and Badonsky, and the crit screen is going to do a lot of damage. So that is a very sound ban, if you ask me.
Yeah, Badonsky definitely is going to be a big player here tonight for Ascent. And Ascent banning out the disciplinary action. And that's a pretty smart one as well. Not necessarily, the 5 CP mid rollouts, but disciplinary action just definitely going to be real helpful for getting the heavy out to mid real quick, making sure you get that, you can shut down the bombers right away at the beginning of mid. And again, as you pointed out, they've been targeting the heavy weapons guys, so definitely a disciplinary action goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah, and now I'm interested to see if Carson opts to run heavy, or if maybe even Ascent at some point decide to run a heavy of their own despite pulling out all these bans. And even as the game progresses, maybe heavy does or doesn't work out. It's going to be interesting to see how he responds to the bans and plays around them, and what each team decides to do with their composition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely the banning the Kritzkrieg, a good call. We'll see how exactly the engineers play differently without the gunslinger. Curious if we'll see more like level 2 sentries being moved up. That's a pretty decent tactic to just get your level or your sentry to level 2 and then like 175 out of 200 and then move it forward and kind of keep it on that edge for a hot second, so that when you first lay it down you can kind of get it up a little bit safer. But obviously gonna have to do something with just sentries. So and
And
oh, go ahead.
adding on to that too, with Faint Gaming, it looks like they're not sure if they're running Spamfest or not, but if they are having Spamfest, it's pretty interesting to see them banning all the engineer weapons, just like was mentioned in the chat real quick. So I'm wondering who's going to be playing and what Spamfest is going to do with himself if he can't have engineer so comfortably and can't have heavy at all, since Carson will probably play it.
Mm-hmm. And we're still waiting for some of the Ascent players to get in here. So kind of sort of curious what exactly their lineup's going to be as well. And they do have Uncle Dane on their team, which the last game that I casted of Ascent when they were playing Asheville versus Velocity, Uncle Dane did not have a good night. And it was kind of a tough one for him. But you sort of, puts you a question mark in your mind if they're saving the Rescue Ranger, if they have Uncle Dan on their team, and if he's just like, oh, dudes, like, I don't care if they ban Gunslinger, I don't care if they ban Wrangler, just give me the Rescue Ranger and I will, like, destroy these kids. Because it definitely would be great to see him come out and do well on the Engineer class, but we were talking about it in pregame. You do need the flexibility to not play Engineer, and that's something that I harped on maybe a little too much in the last cast, but something I definitely feel strongly about in Prolander. So it wasn't necessarily a large slight against Uncle Dan. It's just Prolander is a great game format because you have to be really flexible. It demands it from you.
Right, definitely. And a lot of these Sixes players might be a little hesitant to play some of the Highlander classes, but I do see Ascent has Space Ghost Coffee in their roster for tonight, who is a prolific sniper. So that's always going to be nice for them. Scratchy plays a great engineer. So they do have options, but especially if they're having Uncle Dane, how are they going to adapt and use these players to the best of their advantage?
Yeah, so the roster that we are expecting tonight is Mela, Yomps, Patty, who we have been told might be coming in just a little bit late, might not be coming in right away for this first map. There's not going to be a halftime on this first map, just first 2, 3. And then Scratchy, Space Ghost Coffee, Nursey, and Badonsky. Over on Faint Gaming, it's going to be Duck Rider 32, Mirror Man, Daffodil, Turkey, Fallen Gourd, Carson, and either Zucchini or Zukima, excuse me, or Spamfest. I see Zook and I just think zucchini. I can't help it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how these rosters play out.
And it is Uncle Dane. Uncle Dane has shown up, so we are having the main engineer man himself to be dropping some beats, and I'm excited to see it, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Especially, we're gonna have to see how long it takes for Patty to come back, but getting to see Uncle Dane play on the payload maps with that strong engineer would be more of his stopping ground than maybe something like Astro with no mini sentries,
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely a very good point, that the payload maps that we're going to get into later, that's an area where a team like Ascent, you need somebody that's got some pretty serious Highlander background, familiar with the maps, a little bit more familiar with the pattern of everything. But then again, this is the top level of RGL, and there are a lot of very talented players in here. So just having a little bit of background experience, Uncle Dane has a lot of engineer experience, but compared to just the level that is in this league overall, I don't think he necessarily has as much overall Highlander experience as some of the other players in the league.
Absolutely.
That's correct. I mean, he's got some background in Highlander, but
yeah, it's sort of like you said, maybe not as much as the rest of the players on the server,
Yeah. Just maybe not as much to drag up Ascent if they as a team are having some issues. You know, the issues they have if they're sixes players and they're having issues. There's such good sixes players that some of those players might be really ingrained and hard to shake. But, you know, in the case of Froyotech, we've seen those sort of players adapt really, really well. Personally, I know that our team had some struggles adapting to stopwatch and whatnot, but also personally, I know that my team has had a lot of struggles. So that just goes to show. I mean, it's a difficult mode all around, and it'll be really exciting to see how these two teams match up tonight. One of these teams, the losing team, will be ending up as our 4th place finishers in the league this season with $450 to their name. The winning team will guarantee a $600 pay cut. So that's pretty nice for sure.
Yeah, we're operating on a single elimination playoffs here, but the way it works is it's seeded. So for this game, the 4th seed versus the 3rd seed, the winner of that goes on to play the 2nd, the winner of that goes on to play the 1st seed for Tech in the grand finals. So there's a lot to climb, but you know, may the best man win. So if you're able to get all the way to the end, then you deserve it.
Yeah, it's a great format. I really enjoy it because, you know, that allows everybody to get their time in the spotlight, make sure that we showcase all the teams. Not going to take too long, and also we don't have like one wave of matches that are just like upsets, you know, or like force the 2nd and the 3rd place team, you know, the 3rd place team to basically take a loss right away while, you know that the 1st place seed is going to like destroy the 4th place seed. And then, you know, you just have an upper bracket final. That's a good match, but you know, this way every single match has a lot of intensity to it, and we're going to get a chance to spotlight everybody, and the 4th place seed could go all the way, which would be fantastic to see, you know. And I mean, we have quite a very talented 4th place seed in Ascent here.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to cast last week's match, and for those of you who were with us last week, Ascent beat Generations, the 5th place team, 2-0 on Badwater. So now Ascent is going to be returning to Badwater for the tiebreaker if we get there. But, you know, despite having majority of sixes players, they adapted pretty well. And it wasn't a roll, I wouldn't say it was a roll, but once they got going, they really just kept it rolling all the way until the end.
Yeah. And I mean, definitely that momentum makes a big difference. And it's where you might have some struggles that things are going to unwind for the sixes players. The cost map definitely a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more what they're used to, but at the same time, it kind of has a unique rhythm. The Prolander does, with just, you know, the classes that you need to keep up and what it really means to have just a few classes down. It definitely feels a little bit different than sixes, but Asheville and Koth maps in general have a lot of the same sort of aspects to it. So we're getting word from the server itself that they are live, so we should be going live soon. Any predictions here, Rogue? Do you think that the Highlander background is going to persevere, or that the deathmatch power of Ascent will take it?
You know what? I think this first map is going to be very close. I think that Ascent might have this just with some of their firepower, especially if they're able to make it work. And I do see Patty being back here and Uncle Dane out of the server. So player for player, I think Ascent will frag a little bit harder, and on Asheville that might reward them. So I'm going to give it actually 3-2 to Ascent here.
Okay. I love my boy Patty, and shout out to Yomps, a scout god. Badonsky, also a demo man legend, and Nursey, definitely a crowd pleaser. So Ascent has got one hell of a lineup. Definitely, I feel a bit more comfortable without the Uncle Dane, just because I think that, you know, it's sort of like in a fantasy football draft, right? You know, you want to get a good tight end, but at the end of the day, how many more points can the tight end get you? So if Uncle Dane is a better better engineer than Scratchy, but Scratchy's better in all these other aspects, I'm much more comfortable with Scratchy taking the spot right now. But we are live, by the way.
We're into our first mid fight here. Daff on Demoman fighting Vidonsky here at the midpoint. We have very nice snipe from Space Ghost Coffee right away onto Daff. So that's going to give a lot of room to Ascent here.
Yeah, and Ascent just comes right out of the shutter, gets a lot of space right away. They are down Yomps and Patty, No time on the point, and that was an issue for them before. Mela on the Pyro, and Mela definitely a very accomplished Pyro. Scratchy goes down with the soldier peppering away at his gun on the side. Red team, that is Ascent, has still not captured the point quite yet. It's getting chaotic as well, as Fallen Gord has gotten a snipe on Space Ghost Coffee. It gives him some room, but Feint really doesn't have many players up. It looks like Ascent will finally, oh my god, the Uber has been used here. They finally will capture the point here.
Yamps was able to take down Turkey Lips in the middle of that fight, giving 100% to Nursey, but a beautiful force coming out of Zukima was able to make Nursey use her Uber, so now it's going to be close to even, and Feint are working their way back into the fight from battlements.
Nursey fairly ripped up, so she's on the backside of the ramp here. Bomb over the top, gets right in front of Fallen Gord, and then uses the wall to bomb away. Patty, pro level plays. He's going to get a little love, heads back in, gets air blasted back into the air. And jumping forward, though, again, though, he comes down on the medic, but goes down. Turkey Lips at 75% here.
This is a very heads-up play from Feint because they're taking this dry push right away. They know now the team has Uber, and they know that they have faster respawns, so they're just taking the action right to Ascent here and trying to play the point as best they can. Ascent is backing up a little bit, now giving some room to Feint on the point. Space Ghost Coffee is sitting pretty with his buff behind Toxic, so he has a good couple of pot shots he's taking out, but the Uber does come in. Duck Rider taking it right in with Turkey Lips. They force out Nursey. Nursey taking Badonsky very deep and doing some solid damage, taking out Carson. So this is going to keep the point in the control of Ascent.
Yeah, and Patty trying to chase Turkey Lips, but gets gunned down by Duck Rider. Daft goes down, though, to some damage from Mela. This sentry gun right behind the shutter is doing pretty fantastic. Keeping it at level 2, and it's got a dispenser there to get stocked up on metal as well. So pretty well stocked up. Badonsky covered in the milk, but gonna get some heals in a second here.
It's worth mentioning here that Ascent, despite all the energy weapons being banned, are running Engineer, and Feint, despite all the weapons being banned, are running Heavy. So some solid damage being exchanged here. Carson down very low. Oh, just barely able to hold on to his life as he gets a very solid arrow. Turkey Lips working their way back in, but player after player going down on the side of Feint.
Yeah, and Mela chasing Turkey Lips. Probably not going to be able to get a kill here. Might, though. Still has a chance here. Oh, yes, indeed. The flamethrower with the shotgun combo. That is a big loss. And this round is almost in the books for Ascent Gaming.
No cap on the side of Feint for now. A solid mid-fight and then a failed dry push after that just sort of left Ascent in control of the point the whole game. Now there's a solid 36 seconds left. Feint working their way in slowly, but Patty's still putting in some pressure, able to take out Turkey Lips again.
Yeah, and that sentry gun on the shutter is up to a level 3. Zukima getting in place as a spy. Wants to come in and get some pressure. Decloak is out.
I think it might have been you last 2 weeks ago who mentioned how strong Engineer is on when you're defending the point on King of the Hill, but not so much on offense. So now getting to sit here with the shutter and looks like we're in a quick pause. But getting to sit here and open the shutter as much as they like is very nice for Ascent.
Yeah, definitely. It has been had been holding it at just a level 2 sentry, and that looked pretty intentional, but it seemed like once he got fully established and everything just going on was like, man, might as well just get it up to level 3. So goes ahead and does that. We're getting where that Turkey Lips crashed. Hopefully that wasn't in too dire of a circumstance, and so that they didn't lose any, Uber charge. But it is happening, a couple minutes in the future from right now.
That's right.
It looks like are live though, thankfully.
Yeah, the SCV delay is 90 seconds, or at least I think it is anyway, but so this is going to be a minute and a half in the future, so this is going to be right in the middle of this upcoming round, but we start off here 1-0 for Ascent. Yeah,
extremely strong round for them. They got set up, just had good Uber charges, good pressures, and were able to just disrupt Feint Gaming's attempts to get in and start getting frags and just start opening the team up. Couldn't do anything. Let's see what happens this round, though.
And let's not forget, it's 1-3, no halftime, so whoever's able to take 3 rounds is the winner. Right now, Carson playing in the crates, able to take a little space here, working his way in on the side as Turkey Lips hits some nice arrows, And a beautiful snipe from Fallen going on to Nursey. So this is going to give a decisive first mid to Feint, despite, you know, that quick little play coming at the end there from Yomps.
Yeah, it's definitely gone real well for him. Duck Rider now causing some trouble in the back lines as well. Mela having to back up, and Badonsky just snags the pack on Stair side, but it's just has to wait for it again. He was that low on health. Gets it now, and Ascent positioning themselves, taking that battlement side. See if they can get some good frags coming over the top here. Ooh, denied! Patty doesn't get the flare shot, but does get shoved backwards. Zukima does go down, though. So now no Pyro for Feint Gaming. Yomps on the scout getting in close. Patty getting denied as Yomps gets gunned down. Duck Rider trying to work the top here. Sticky's coming over the top as well. Carson pretty weak. Fallen Gord gets the snipe on Space Ghost Coffee, though. Carson eating a sandwich. Patty right on the other side. Gonna jump up top here. Jumps away now. Good double jump to switch sides. Grabs the health pack on the left.
We just came back in from the
there goes
end of our
Nursey again.
Earlier. That's great that you take out Nursey because Turkey Lips died losing the 100% Uber. So by rejoining the server, they're able to come back in now. But it looks like with that very nice shot onto Nursey, they're able to take the point free of charge.
Yeah, definitely. So only 21 seconds. They lose Fallen Gord here. That gives the sniper advantage over to Red Team. He gets shut back for now. Mirror Man getting gunned down by Yomps underneath.
I like that play from Space Ghost, just running in by himself with no support, taking down Fallen and just running right back out. Now, Mela going very far forward, and Yomps working his way forward as well. They managed to just surround Carson from left, right, and above. Side Duck Rider, I guess, coming back in and manages to get a quick pick onto Yomps, but it's not going to be enough to stop the point capture. So now Ascent are taking some seconds off the clock.
I feel like this was a good adjustment from last time that I saw Ascent on Prolander when Uncle Dane was there. And I feel like instead of pushing past the point like they might have done and been like, oh, we have an advantage, let's chase the medic, get a kill, not let them get the Uber charge. This time they're like, well, we need to capture the point, and now we can back up. Unfortunately, Nursey goes down to the Pyro, and they're going to lose the point. Going to flip back over.
Man, when the Uber was coming in on the ground, ooh, nice jumps there, but when the Uber came in on the ground, Zuki jumped onto the enemy roof and ran in a straight line into Nursey and was able to take her down, despite not being part of the Uber at all. So that was a really heads-up play from Zukima, and it gave his team the point. Oh, but Stasis Coffee taking out Daff nice and easy.
Yeah, Feint needs to be careful, though, because they're just, it seems like they're getting less and less from each time that they've held the point. And that's sort of what I mean by Ascent as well. Like, they're sniffing out the power difference, and then they're just getting on the point, and there's nothing that Feint can do about it in these circumstances.
It's a nice flow, you know? They have a really nice flow to their gameplay, where they're riding the advantages and covering the disadvantages. And I think a big game changer here is Patty constantly on top of Fallen Lord, where every time Fallen Lord is in position to take some shots, Patty's jumping him, either killing him or distracting him. So that's giving a lot of room to Space Ghost Coffee to get some nice shots. But as I say that, Fallen Lord responds and takes out Space Ghost Coffee. So I will close my mouth next time.
Yeah, Patty, though, definitely fantastic mobility and movement across the map, switching sides and getting health packs on either side. Barely saves himself from burning to death. He's going to jump back around in just a second out here. Coming in on point, but gets completely denied by Carson and Zukima. There's going to be a capture going the way of Feint. This round, much, much closer, though. We're seeing life from Feint Gaming. They get Space Ghost Coffee as well. He's getting shut down, at least so it seems. We'll have to see what the stats say later.
Yeah, such an open map. These snipers are coming in real hot. Like, Fallen Lord just ran by himself all the way up on the bats with no buff and takes out Space Ghost Coffee like it's easy. And now this is going to give so much room to Fallen Lord for however long, you know, a solid 10 seconds for Space Ghost Coffee to respawn and come back. So Feint are sitting pretty on their roof, waiting and holding for the push from Ascent. Ascent just sitting on the battle and is trying to put in whatever damage they can.
Yeah, they're trying to get that sentry gun up again, but there's 4 stickies in front of the door. He has to pop them. Now they might be able to open that door up again. The Uber comes out, going to be exchanged, though, as Mela gets in on the other side. Going to be able to burn down Daff as well, though, as the Uber was taken off of him. And Turkey Lips did get back in a way. Carson getting pressured back. The point is going to flip. But that was a great hold for Feint. Zukima going down.
Look at that, eXtine. During that Uber, the Feint players are fighting onto the point, but what Patty and Yomps do is they jump past the Uber and go and take out Fallen Lord. And then suddenly Feint says, hey, we have 2 or 3 players stuck behind us, what do we do? And they back up. But beautiful shots from Mirror Man.
Yeah, great pressure there from Patty as well, and does just get away as well instead of just trying to finish the kill. Looking to jump up now. Here's the push coming through. Gets in the face of Turkey Lips, but no, gun down. Turkey Lips himself with the arrow. And 3 down now for Ascent, and Space Ghost Coffee has gone down as well. That sentry is still on the other side of the door. Will they be able to get the capture? The Uber coming out from Ascent, looking for the block here. Dunk Rider getting out there. Should be able to take down the sentry gun. Not much time left on the clock, but will be able to get the capture here. Ascent wants to push out. Mela on the ground here. Has a scout with him. Getting in Carson's face. Good damage on Carson. Guns him down. Ascent in a great position to get out here and push. But there are players Feint gaining the flank from Patty. Oh, misses the air shot. He's going to get gunned down. The wall splash damage. And there you go. Feint Gaming taking it. What an exciting finish that round. Whew.
Very strong gameplay coming out of Feint, keeping their players alive and sticking on the high ground, calling very good focus fire. There was just so much damage onto the players of Ascent, and they weren't able to seal the deal. So it's 1-1.
Yeah, definitely. Nice plays by Feint Gaming, working together and coming back in at just the right times. Patty doing everything he could, but that last round was definitely just a few frags away.
Melee now taking down Daffy, I believe, and Fallen Lord going down as well. Turkey Lips able to push towards the point a little bit, but Patty's still in behind, taking down Duck Rider as well.
Yeah, I got 2-player. Turkey Lips ends up going underneath Patty. Patty figures it out, is going to cut him off. Turkey Lips gets gunned down by Yomps. Scout God.
Yeah, this is going to give a lot of time off the clock for Ascent while Feint are getting their late respawners and getting all their players back in. But Feint was able to take down Nursey, so Nursey only working on 20% here. Let's see if Feint is going to come back in with another one of those dry pushes and come in a little fast here. Ascent only have 4 players on that right side of the point. They send a second Mirror Man, Zukima, Daff flying in. They're able to get Nursey and Badonsky and Patty.
Yeah.
With just the price of 1 player.
Yeah, Patty gets sniffed out. He was hiding for quite a while. Oh, there goes Scratchy as well. So likely won't be able to hold his sentry gun up. Mela trying to get on the point. But with Carson there and the Demo Man, they're going to gun down both of those players. They can just leave the sentry gun down. Okay, no, it got taken out by Mirror Man. So great work there by Feint Gaming. Everybody's dead. They're going to capture the point. But they do have a deficit that they need to work through here.
I have to give so many props to Carson for how he's playing on this map. You know, having the heavy weapons ban is very frustrating, I'm sure. And he's keeping himself back, but when it matters most, he's putting himself in strong positions on the point and stopping anyone who tries to repush on the side of Ascent. I'm really liking how they're playing around this heavy.
Yeah, keeping Patty in check is going to be really important. Mirror Man has been sort of struggling in some ways as well, so we'll see how he continues to do. Carson gets the kill on Patty, so good work. Again, stopping that just as I was mentioning it. And Carson was paranoid about the spy as well, but we have not seen that from Ascent here.
Ooh, Space Ghost getting a 130 damage body shot off onto Turkey Lips, not able to seal the deal. And then Daffodil says, hey, don't hurt my friend, and goes into frag Space Ghost.
And this might be the scenario now to consider, you know, where it's not Uncle Dan, maybe it's somebody else who should be switching off. Engineer. You know, they don't have the teleporter set up and they're forced to use the regular sentry guns. Could be a heavy weapons guy right now.
Whew, Nursey flying all the way in with Yomps and Patty taking a lot of damage, but we're into another pause.
Oh, dang. And got Turkey Lips there. I don't know. Okay, no, you know, it's always easy to forget the delay in the STVs. You see players in a weird situation, you see a pause, and you're like, oh, did he pause because he was dropped? He just died? No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
This is something I always love to see, is this aggression into lobby when you have the opening. You know, a solid chase that's coordinated with enough players to support your exit will always pay dividends when you're just capturing the point. So now Ascent are going to be a minute behind. Not a minute exactly, because the clock is still ticking. I think something around 30 seconds behind. But, you know, getting these very late frags is going to be really strong for getting extra time onto the point.
Yeah, definitely. I got some time to make up on the clock overall. Definitely, you know, considering it's first to 3, this would be a big pickup for Faint Gaming. Take the 2-1 lead. Definitely puts a lot of pressure, and you know, a lot of times in these King of the Hill maps, it goes down to the wire. So to have that pressure of like, oh my god, we need to win this, you know, or like, okay, well, we can try something funky, and if we lose it or if we take a risk, it's not the end of the world. That's always reassuring.
Yeah, and it's sort of like you mentioned earlier, you know, maybe Uncle Dane can't be blamed now, but who else did they switch to maybe a new class? But neither team has run a spy so far. But even then, it doesn't really feel to me that either team is playing wrong or having the wrong comp. You know, Ascent making the engineer work, Faint making the heavy work. But with it being 1-1, it's so close. Maybe a quick trick up a sleeve could turn into a round win.
Yeah, definitely. I do believe we did see Zukuma on the spy for a hot second earlier, but I don't think he did much with it.
And, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, Zukuma throwing those flare gun shots out. Greaser, classic. Oh, going for the jump, coming in. Oh, doesn't quite get a kill. Gets a lot of damage, but Turkey Lips at 55%. My HUD a little messed up. I'm not sure if the it looks like our broadcast HUD though I think is just fine. Thank you so much again to Sigafu running our camera tonight.
Sigafu, always the man. And right now, Ascent sitting on the point with full Uber. Ooh, getting a nice shot onto Jakima there from Space Ghost Coffee. Right now, oh, beautiful again. Space Ghost just kind of has free reign, and you have to wonder why people are maybe just walking right in there. But let's see if maybe we get to see another sack coming in from Faint Gaming, or if they just decide to take this in once they get full charge, because they're coming on it right now.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make some sort of decision. They have dropped down here. Carson going underneath, going for the full-on flank, but spotted out. And I think he saw that there wasn't a medic with him, so that's. Oh my God, Turkey Lips dropped.
Whew. This is going to be so great for Ascent, especially with that pick onto Death, and then Patty flying in onto Fallen Lord. So this is going to give them a lot of time. And we just passed the unpause as well, so I'm not quite sure what happened to either side. So hopefully it wasn't too much of a detriment to whoever was having problems. But right now, Ascent still sitting, still nursing on 100%. Space Ghost Coffee in a great position, and if you say it, it shall be. He gets a very nice shot onto Carson.
Yeah, I think the game was already on pause by the time that Turkey Lips got killed, so there was an issue with him. We're getting some reports of some lag, but at least he was back in the game. And the clock very down low, but Nursey has an overcharge running around, I think going for some saws as well in the meantime of it.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. But then the rest of Ascent just kind of cleaning up here. Mirror Man fighting tooth and nail, but going into 4 very hurt players. But, you know, you even... 4 players is a lot to ask for anyone, so that's going to be 2-1 on the side of Ascent.
Yeah, great reflect there from Mela, clearing the point off, making sure that they get it. And as I was discussing, this is a first to 3, so Ascent having the 2 rounds, definitely a big advantage right now.
Some solid damage from Radonsky onto Daff, and then Patty tries flying in, but Zakima says no thank you. Carson now playing underground with Duck Rider and Mirrorman. Actually, a lot of the Faint players playing underground, but that's going to point control to Ascent.
Yeah, and Turkey Lips got disconnected from everybody really early. Ended up being 20% behind Nursey on the Uber charge here. And that's pretty significant if this fight just goes on, but it seems like they're just going to lose it anyways. Completely getting sandwiched. They do get some frags, but Turkey Lips going down, the most influential one there. Trying to find Nursey, but Nursey's going to have that charge in just a few seconds here.
We have Mirrorman scoping it out, and he sees a couple of their players, and the combo as well. Space Ghost caught all the way out on the other side with his pants down. Isn't able to make it out, so he's going to go down and have that longer respawn because Ascent have the point. But right now, Fallen Lord trying to take a couple shots off here on Bats. Daff and Carson working their way forward, trying to pressure Ascent however much they can.
Yeah, Ascent has a supercharge. They're going to use it actually pretty aggressively here, trying to take in Patty. They have Yomps down low as well, trying to just zone in on Turkey Lips, get the kill there, have to push forward. Nursey might be in some trouble here if Yomps doesn't stay alive. Patty still with her though. You're gonna have to fight through this heavy weapons guy. Demo Man behind as well. Now Nursey in some serious trouble. Goes down. Carson gets sniped from behind. And not too many players up for Ascent right now, but if they can delay, then they'll still just be able to hold on to this point.
I got my eyes on the sentry on the roof on Ascent side. Zakiwa jumping right into it, able to take it down before it does too much damage. So that's going to be a little bit of a relief for Feint as they capture this point.
Yeah, Podonsky does a good job rotating, getting back, not getting too involved in the fights, bleeding himself. Got Yomps jumping in like crazy. Patty is in as well. Gourd goes down to Nursey, actually. Hitting an arrow. Mirror Man called out, but Donsky gets a nice pipe on him. Getting healed up, staying alive. Space Ghost Coffee with the snipe to get the finish.
That was a strong repush from coming out of Ascent. They just sort of walked over the point, played off the picks, played off the damage, and moved slowly and slowly forward. That's, again, eXtine, really nice flow coming out of Ascent that we haven't seen. We saw a little bit last week, but the week before we didn't see whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. They're hitting their tempo, just synergizing a lot better, and doing just fantastic work. The clock is ticking away. They got a nice minute 30 lead already, but the Ubercharge coming in here. Nursey's going to be ready to go, either possibly on Podonsky or on Mela, but they're just letting it go entirely. They've held it the entire length of the Feint Gaming Ubercharge. Podonsky moving forward. Oh my god, barely survives that. Now he's going to have a scout in his face with 13 health. He's going to get done down. Nursey wants to kill this heavy weapons guy with an arrow, but she's extremely low. Hits Scratchy with a very nice heal arrow. Patty with a heal arrow as well. Nursey is out. The fight continues on point. Mirror Man with one good rocket. And I think Feint Daff kills off Patty. Looks like Feint trying to battle on this point, trying to finish it off, but Mela fighting just says no. Getting that delay, and it is the flip-flop. Before, it was Ascent Gaming that was having troubles. Even though that they were winning points, they were having trouble taking the point despite winning fights. But tonight, just right there, they had lost players. There was situations, there was times where it wasn't the best for them, but they held on the point the entire time. There's just a little bit of blue on there. Feint trying to get on here, but they are losing players all over themselves, all over the place. Scratchies. Sentry Gun getting some big frags at the end there. And very nicely played. 3-1 by Ascent Gaming.
Wow. Great play coming out of them. You know, once they were seeing the advantages they were able to take over Feint, they just kept pressing them every single time. Space Ghost Coffee playing very well. You had Podonsky hitting some very nice traps and always putting out very consistent damage. So very well done on the side of Ascent.
Yeah, they were pounding pretty much, straightforward. The Sentry Gun tactics were doing awesome. I'm just pulling up my stats here. Sentry Gun tactics were doing great. Scratchy was definitely pretty well involved with 10 kills and 8 assists to 12 deaths, and a fair amount of damage per minute. Seems kind of buggy. Weird.
I'm not sure what that's about. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the duration got bugged out. It says the duration's only a minute, so then the damage per minute is all completely whack. But that's all right. We can still see just like how much damage they did. Just total. So, and yeah, definitely Podonsky just going pretty crazy there. Which is no surprise. He almost, well, a good chunk. It must be about 70% more damage than Daff was putting out. Almost 10,000 compared to 6,000.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at Yomps here too, putting out almost as much as a Demo Man level of damage on Scout. Even going into this heavy must be helping his stats and not having to worry about sentry guns is a godsend, especially for a Sixes player that is so renowned as Yomps. Also, Yomps here top fragging in the server at a solid 28. The highest player on the side of Feint is Carson at 19. Carson, though, being on the heavy and, proving his worth despite the bans.
Yeah, and I mean, TF2 is a game where sometimes the stats don't really tell the full story, but when you compare the stats of one player, one position to the stats of his the opposing player, yeah, man, Patty did fantastic. He was 22, 7, and 22. And, that sounds pretty good. You're like, oh, it's like a 1-to-1 kill death ratio. But, being a roamer and jumping around, he was just all over the place. And you compare his stat line there, which, like I said, is not a flashy stat line per se. You compare that with Mirror Man on Faint Gaming on the Soldier, and he was only able to accomplish 12 kills with 5 assists and 19 deaths. So definitely Patty just way more active. And looking down as well at who Patty was killing, Patty killed Fallen Gord 8 times. So he was really able to keep him in check, while Space Ghost Coffee got 4 snipes on Fallen Gord compared to Fallen Gord 6. So he was losing the direct sniper to sniper ward, but with Patty and Yomps contributing 12 kills, that compared to how many kills the rest of Faint Gaming were getting against Space Ghost Coffee is really telling. They just besides Fallen Gord, they just got 6 other kills. So Patty and Yomps just going huge and assisting in that sniper war. And there was a lot of really good stuff happening for Ascent.
Yeah, that really tells the story, I think, that flank side. There were so many names that we kept calling out, not really calling out the flankers so much on the side of Faint. So that more than paints the picture, especially with even the frags onto medics. Yomps got 6 med picks alone, and Turklips had 11 deaths, so more than half of them were to more than half of them were to Yomps, but we are going into our picks and bans here, eXtine.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll pull that up in just a second. I wanted to make one other point. Just that Nursey had 3 less deaths. She didn't die to the scout at all. Turkey Lips got killed by Yomps 6 times. But just their heal numbers, Turkey Lips did heal more, but Nursey getting 10 more Uber charges. So huge difference there in terms of the charges able to get out. So yeah, once again, we're getting the Wrangler protected by Faint Gaming. A lot of similar bans though, the heavy weapons guys gear getting targeted out. Cloak and Dagger targeted out for this payload style map.
And it's interesting from Faint Gaming, despite running Tsukima, who's played Pyro and Highlander for years, versus Mela, who just does it, more as like an off-classic kind of for fun in 6s. Faint decides to go after all of the Pyro weapons. And even looking at the stats, Mela did perform a little bit better than Tsukima, but going after some of those and even some spy weapons just because, very interesting from Faint.
Yeah, definitely. Mela crushing it on the Pyro. Mela does an awesome job on Pyro throughout the years and 6s. We see the Razorback band as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Degreaser does indeed limit Mela and his effectiveness that he's able to bring on the Pyro here. We do get the short circuit band out as well. Just really. They're going to get one engineer weapon. It's going to get that one.
We were talking earlier before the game eXtine about how teams are operating with these bans and that people are still learning it and getting used to it, and maybe some teams haven't quite figured it out yet. I'm looking at the side of Faint Gaming. They decided to ban the Cloak and Dagger, making Spy harder, but they also banned the Razorback, which makes Spy easier. So, it's hard to tell exactly what they're going for, at least from my perspective.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the amount of bans is a good amount, but definitely teams feel a little scatterbrained sometimes. As you point out with those approaches.
And it's funny too, sometimes seeing it's a little emotional, some of the 6s players saying, definitely. Hey, I don't want to walk into a Natasha heavy or a short circuit NG, let's ban those. you know.
Yeah, and I think we'll get that as well, where teams start to realize if like, oh, we can actually have a super big impact on the strategy with this. We're not just going to ban these weapons that are quote unquote annoying. We're going to very much target particular weapons like the Tomislav. I don't really know how important that is as a ban here against Carson. Heavy weapons guy obviously is going to be important on the map, but you always, I don't know, in this format the bans are very interesting, but you always have to wonder how much of the heavy weapons guy is still going to be an impact no matter what, whether the Tomislav is involved or not. So it'll probably dampen his capabilities, but I'm sure Carson is still just going to pound on heavy weapons guy.
Yeah, you raise a good point. Carson showed that he was able to do very well despite the 3 bans set out against him, and now they managed to set out another 3 bans. But I would guess anyway that Carson's still going to run heavy, and how much are these things really going to get in his way? I would guess not that much.
Yeah, I mean, and just maybe in regards to what else you might want to ban, if you're the Natasha, banning, I could see banning the Tomislav if they're really worried about, aggressive heavy and the capability to jump around corners and whatnot. But Natasha may be something that you can be like, okay, well, let's just leave it unbanned, and if he is using it, then we can switch up our strategy. But definitely just instead choosing to be more fearful of it. I understand the Fist of Steel ban for sure. We also, I want to point out, have Spamfest in for Faint Gaming. So
wow, that's tactical. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Tactical substitutions coming through here. I definitely like it, and it doesn't look like, at least out of the gates here, that we will have a similar situation, substitution with Ascent Gaming and whatchamacallit, Uncle Dane. Looks like they psyched us out here, so.
Well, you know what, eXtine? That opened my eyes real wide, because it all makes sense now. With Feint, I said, hey, why would Feint ban all the pyro weapons? What's Sakima gonna do? I guess just leave the server. That's a really smart play coming out of them. Now, Melee's gonna have a harder time, and then they just probably don't run a pyro and just keep Spamfest on Engineer. Yeah. So very strong call coming out of Feint, and it looks like they're playing to win.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see as well. I wonder if that's their hierarchy, that the Wrangler is more important than the Rescue Ranger, or was it Ascent that it was Ascent that held on to the Rescue Ranger, wasn't it?
Huh. Yeah, it was actually.
I guess that was pretty helpful for Scratchy, and being able to keep that sentry gun up behind the shutter. So definitely interesting to see how while the weapons are available to both teams, if one team has a particular strategy or play in mind that they've practiced, then they'll definitely be able to pull that off more effectively than the other team.
Yeah, I got to hand it to Feint here. I still have a question mark on the spy bans, with the Razorback and the Cloak and Dagger, but they say, we have no Engineer last game, we'll ban all the Engie stuff. Now we have no Pyro, we'll ban all the Pyro stuff.
Yeah. And Carson's starting as spy, but of course, you can use the spy in these setup situations to determine what the other class is running. And indeed, actually, Nursey running the crit streak here. So this is a classic setup. You can get the crits stickies here, and she can't actually switch back. And like if somebody had sacked for the maybe she'll be able to just run. Curious. Yeah, if somebody had sacked for the Engineer, you actually can stack and respawn, I believe. But looks like instead they're going to do this technique of running back and switching guns, and then maybe taking the teleporter. No, okay, just running it out. So
in situations like this, I like to think of my scout as a sled dog, and yell mush on the way to and from spawn to switch the gun.
Yeah, and they get the buff, so pro plays there by Ascent. Make sure to get their efficiency, get those crit stickies. If only it was the Scottish Resistance. That's what I would love to see there.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah.
And Spamfest calling them out. That for the huge bomb in and taking the parachute here. Able to get some solid stickies onto the gun. Still dancing around, does get taken out without doing too much damage.
Good distraction for Duck Rider. Looks like was covered in a liquid, so is going to get chased and gunned down. Mirror Man sniped as well. So really just a little bit of progress on the cart. All that's going to be happening here. Fallen Gourd working up the stairs, trying to get some snipes in. We do have the Gunslinger Mini Sentry behind the rocks here. Nice spot there. Is going to be able to sort of keep Yomps at bay.
Solid. Girardi from Fallen Lord, Mela and Podansky covered. Mirror Man here going down a little bit low, trying to get some spam out. Right now, Carson actually is playing Pyro, not heavy, and is working his way towards the point.
Yeah, and Duck Rider was in on the whole setup, trying to get some saps down or stabs. Ended up getting picked out by Patty. The sentry gun does go down to the direct hit. Space Ghost Coffee also going down. The Engineer Scratchy going to be able to grab some of this metal that's around. So, no, looks like the gun going down, I think, permanently now. As Red having some issues here. Mela throwing the Demo Man Daff up against the wall, though, getting the frag there. Podolsky has gone down. Carson pushing the cart, though. Duck Rider on the scout up top. Mirror Man getting an arrow, looking to jump in. Might just take out some of the remaining hardware here. There was a reflect kill there on Arrow Man, I think on Playground. Carson gets the capture, or sorry, Spamfest does. So that's a good accomplishment in regards to spawns and everything. The teleporter is still up, being ignored for the moment. Okay, there we go. Sentry, or Sticky's on it.
It was an interestingly scrappy kind of fight there. There's the old Highlander adage, I think. I don't know if that's the right word. Hopefully it's not an inappropriate word. All right. But it's that he who controls Playground controls the point after Ubers are exchanged. But Ascent still had like 2 players on Playground. They just sort of hung out while the rest of Feint Gaming pushed forward and took out the rest of the players. So now, Patty just barely able to slide out of there. That was close forward, and Feint just sort of posing for their push.
Yeah, this has been pretty good setup by Feint right now. They've got that cart all the way up to the front. The scout now slipping down low to push it out of the entrance. The Wrangler helping create some space here as well. Soldier also dropped down to help push it out. Now Demoman getting out with Stickies. Nursey has, or no, that's Yomps getting thrown forward as the Uber fades. Continues to getting on Turkey Lips. Can't get the kill there though. Turkey Lips going to be able to get the bottle. Continuing to push forward with their team. 3 down for Ascent. That puts them in a pretty weak spot. But Fallen Gourd going down. So does Mela as well though. Mirror Man pushing forward on to Space Ghost Coffee. Eventually does find the splash kill. There's the capture as well. Turkey Lips getting far forward in front of his team for a second there, just being like, yeah, we got this. I am ready to go. And indeed, ×3 on the point now. They are charging forward past Roller Coaster, looking to get a control of corner here. And Scratchy Sentry has gone down. Yomps gets a little bit of damage out, but doesn't get a kill on Def or Carson.
Beautiful really hustle here. Yeah, like
definitely. Solid push and really working in the Roller Coaster very quickly right now.
And now we have Follower taking the wide angle on Roller Coaster, but Nursey doesn't want to hear anything. Yup!
Oh my god.
Able just barely to jump back onto the map, pushing Daff and Turkey Lips all the way back, but you know, Yomps just decides that's good enough. But I would disagree, eXtine, because Turkey Lips is still alive. And that's going to give a solid advantage to Feint.
Yeah, in the end, I don't know. That sort of seems like a bit of a panic Uber of like, oh my god, they're doing work against us. Uber Charge has gone in now. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit later. And Blue getting some progress here. Yomps behind, but he's going to get Mini down. Patty trying to push back forward, but again, Turkey Lips going to survive. Daft, though, this time getting killed by Patty. And they made progress on Roller Coaster, continuing to push it with a very nice ×3 squad. Get the reflect kill on Carson. And this is fantastic progress here.
A very strong card presence from Feint, even when they're not sure how the fight's going to go. But these players still have the wherewithal to keep the pressure on, even from Roller Coaster. And this leaves a Space Ghost here trying to get whatever he can.
Yeah, that to me right there felt like a very huge Highlander win, where they were losing position and then they sort of got panicked into popping the Uber and trying to be aggressive with it. But instead, they just kind of like didn't really get the frags that they needed to. You pointed out they didn't get the kill on Turkey Lips, and they didn't need to do that yet. And now they've given up so much space. Paused again. They've given up so much space. Before, they really were pushing the ×3. It does look like Duck Rider is on the way to keep up the ×3. And Patty might be able to work his way to get in and try to interfere. But I think Patty also might be should be going for the flank on the medic. We'll see though, because Turkey Lips and Carson and Daff, as we go live here, yeah, and Patty is going for the flank here. He's gonna get right on top of Turkey Lips, gets the kill there. They were not aware that he was coming. They couldn't push through fast enough. Patty is gonna go down underneath, but trades with Duck Rider. Carson's still down there, and the cart's still moving forward. Meanwhile, gotta reload my HUD here. I was like, Turkey Lips, 66% Uber. No, he had just gone down. Respawning now. Nursey doesn't have a whole lot of a charge here. They're getting a ton of progress on the cart here. They're going to be forced into engaging, but they can't really fight here. They're down a few players. Getting some players in now here. Patty comes out. He has to stay up, though, and Nursey has gone down, so there's no heals. Carson on the cart. Yomp's going to burn down. Mela all the way underneath those, all the way over by the health pack, the big health pack. Patty, oh, God, takes a pipe. Nice fight by Death, but Mela coming from behind, looking to throw him in the pit, but goes down. Everybody is dead. Nursey's going to come up here, not going to be able to do anything. And it is a sub 6 minute time for Feint Gaming. Ouch.
We had such a strong push there at the end. A lot of times teams will get stuck, you know, a sniper locking something down or trying to push into the same choke point a million times. Feint just peeked into every opening that they saw, and you know, if it wasn't safe, they would group up with someone somewhere else and push that advantage instead. So they just sort of swarmed into last, but still, despite keeping those players all over, had amazing card presence. They just kept it rolling and rolling and rolling, and were able to get it in just 6 minutes.
Yeah, so Nursey, old school Highlander legend. So I feel like it's a little cliche to harp on the sixes aspect, because even teams that are very, very experienced Highlander teams get rolled sometimes. But I definitely felt like, you know, first point kind of was like a natural, okay, sometimes it just happens, you lose in a minute 30, whatever. Second point, though, they lost immediately. It was just methodical from Feint, and really picked them apart strategically. And then after that, they did not get settled on third. It was a bad Uber, and then they were just losing on the cart, just not making progress besides the cart, just losing on the cart. And Feint Gaming now have a very reasonable, easy time to hold here. And Ascent are going to have to keep ×3 on the cart for a lot of this, just to make it happen.
And a lot of pressure on the side of Ascent. Space Ghost Coffee responds by taking the first pick onto Fallen Lord. But now, Carson is on heavy, so this is going to make it a lot harder for Patty, for example. Coming in, still gets a sentry, but he isn't getting spammed out.
Wasn't really a full spam wave, and Nursey in a weird spot. The soldier just needs to reload. Okay, Mela gets the Uber charge and the reflect, but Nursey forced an awkward early Uber.
Yeah, it was a fast exchange, but it looks like Feint is able to still hold this. Ascent got in fast and got in pretty deep, but Feint was able to just sort of kite the plates out of the Uber and keep the Uber onto Daff. And now they're still in control of the playground. They have a level 2 gun set up. They have the sniper alive on Fallen Lord is coming in from Hill. So this is a nice little reset.
Oh, and Scratchy ended up just wasting a whole lot of time, was waiting behind, waiting for somebody, and Duck Rider just comes from spawn and gets the kill on him. So
yeah, hate to see
a lot of wasted time.
You hate to see it. So
this is going downhill already. He's going to move the sentry gun just a little bit onto playground, tucking it around. That's a great rotation there. They're not going to expect that.
Uber's almost totally reset here with a decent advantage on the side of Feint. But it's always scary to hold this point without Uber, just because if you get flooded and overwhelmed, you have no response. But with that, Spamfest with his gun takes out Nursey.
Yeah, what a godlike play from Spamfest moving it up there, because they didn't really have a chance to spot that. Scratchy worked down low and was just at that point to be like, maybe something's different here. But wasn't able to communicate that. Nursey poking her head out, got gunned down. Patty now getting sniped down, and a lot of time eaten up off this first point. It's 2 minutes. Scratchy going down. That hurts a little bit. Spamfest is down, so that's going to make things a little bit easier. And definitely, if things go well here, you feel like Feint's going to have to reset on the second point. But things now going well for Feint Gaming, not Ascent. Space Ghost Caffey pushed back. Duck Rider trying to get the kill on Pyro. Doesn't really care, though. And they're going to try to continue to hold this, surprisingly. Okay, no, there's the call to get out.
Good thing Mirrorman with the whip now
the
that
whip,
is
that helps
unbanned,
out.
able to get Turkey Lips out of there. Mirrorman, though, going for a little bit of a forward play. Oh, doesn't totally commit to it. Always a fun spot.
Let's watch Scratchy here. Dropping down below. Oh, easy pick. Gets the double stab. That's definitely a play they needed here because Spamfest going to have difficulty keeping this sentry gun alive here. It's just a level 2. The sticky's coming out. And Ascent really needed that. That is for sure. But also, I think that, okay, Spamfest is building inside. And oh my god, though, look how far back that cart is. We're getting a taunt on the cart from Yomps because he got a kill, but it's just ×2. And that's why Spamfest feels comfortable with, like, you know what? We might still be able to get some sort of hold, some sort of delay here. Okay, he just builds up the sentry gun, but they get the players spawned. They're going to get 2 more players spawned out of that exit. Okay, those players are going to wait for the cycle. Fallen Gore does come out. Mirror Man waiting. And he might not cycle spawns and just wait. Indeed, he does. Try coming in on Nursey now. Going to get spotted. Does force the Ubercharge out, though.
Right now, Carson working his way back through elbow. Able to cut this very well. Badonsky now, no more Uber left to work with. Feint are playing very far back, but they know they can. Look how far back the card is, eXtine. They have all the time in the world to just reset, get healed up, get their players. But Patty comes flying in, takes out Spamfest of all people. So that's going to mean no more gun for the push.
Yeah, that's definitely a pretty big pick off here. But Feint Gaming battling around the cart. And this is what it's all about here. As the cart that gun very low health, but still able to contribute a bit. And they're just delaying on the cart. The Demo Man and the Pyro with the medic having to get on the cart. Oh my god, Duck Rider, yeah, just fell off there, right? Oh, Nursey gunned down by Mirror Man. Nice bomb. They knew Nursey playing the cart. Now it's just Mela there taking a little bit of damage, pretty low. It's going to be using those cart heals. We'll see though, Mela getting chased off, does get the pack down low. But again, nobody pushing the cart, and it's 1:10 on the clock. Yomps choosing to pressure on the side instead of putting time on the clock. He knows that he could just get gunned down, but he needs to do it. Now rotating to it. The Ubercharge is out here. We'll see. They need to rotate somebody over to the cart eventually here. Mela trying to get the reflect here. The bomb coming in from Mirror Man does push people sort of off the cart. Sticky's coming in as well, but Mela, excellent plays here. Great damage, getting all sorts of work done. And Duck Rider having to jump back, but still alive. Mirror Man still alive as well. Carson coming in, gets the kill on Nursey and Mela. I think that's going to do it for this set.
Yeah, that's all she wrote, eXtine. This is going to be a 1-0 on upward for the side of Feint. And I love that, last-ditch effort coming in from Nursey and Mela. Even Nursey hitting a huge arrow onto Mela, allowing him to put out even more damage. It was some solid playing. There's a couple spots of excellence coming out of Ascent, but the team cohesion on the side of Feint can withstand everything that's being thrown at them.
And Nursey on the heavy weapons guy for a hot second here. Why not? But indeed, the first half of this map going to go to Feint Gaming. Very strong play by them. We saw it first on offense, and then their defense, especially Spamfest. Sentry gun on the first point came together real nicely, and just able to get frags as well from Fallen Gourd up against Space Ghost Coffee. Turkey Lips also getting away effectively at the right moments, and Carson playing pretty well on the Pyro as well.
Yeah, I have our stats pulled up here real quick. The top fraggers in the server are Carson and Duck Rider. Both, it's funny, listing all the classes they're playing is Scout, Pyro, and Spy, and then for Carson it's Pyro, Heavy, and Spy. So we're gonna have it's a nice spread of classes here, but they're showing that they're adapting and they're making it work by staying alive and putting in the damage.
Yeah, and I definitely think there was some pretty serious Highlander mechanics that people on Ascent could have followed a little bit better, just in terms of making sure that cart was pushed ahead. We saw when Feint was on offense, they were very methodical about establishing their control of hill while they had the cart pushing, establishing control of the actual corner there, the first major corner, and then pushing the cart, out of the cave entrance. But Ascent, you know, we're battling forward, and then the classic like, oh yeah, the cart, you know, and it's about the clock, you know. So in the situation of you know, having somebody that you're working up against, if they've already done that time, if you know, you can't go faster than times 3. So anytime that they're at times 3, you know, the amount of time that they've spent on times 3, you have to match that. You have to aggressively get times 3. And it was just such a great push there. Looks like we're gonna have yeah, there were some comments about lag, so it looks like we're maybe just gonna have a server cycling. Yeah, re-execing, says Sigafu. But you know, you have to have that mentality. When I was in collegiate athletics, both as a coach and a participant, you know, rowing was my sport, and some of the year you would do these races where it's over a longer distance and it's over a river, and so there's just no way, you know, twists and turns. There's no way that you could compete with the people side by side, because there's current, there's, you know, steering, there's all these things. You don't want to run into each other. And so they would just send teams out, and you send the boat out, and then you send the next boat out, and you send the next boat out. And you have absolutely no idea how the other people did, and you just have to do it as fast as possible. And you know, we do, if you're going second, you do have that clock staring at you, but it's still the same thing. You have to go as fast as possible. And Ascent had that clock staring him in the face. It's okay, 6 minutes. And they sort of struggled on the first point, but you know, it's like, if you struggle on the first point, then you need to have times 3. You need to keep going. You need to keep that foot on the gas, full speed, to just contend with these people that didn't have a hard time on the first point, and they were at times 3. So they were sort of struggling with those mechanics. And then I think when they're on defense too, I mean, I don't know if you've got the same vibe of that defensive Uber where they were trying to push into feint, and they were trying to kill the medic, but that just overall, I feel like that's a tougher play to execute, and that, you know, you should just use the Uber charge a little bit more defensively, a little to clear off the cart. But they use the Uber charge to chase frags and to chase the medic, not necessarily completely put a stop to the momentum of the cart.
Right. In a play like that, it only works if you kill the enemy medic, right?
Yeah.
That way you have the advantage. But Yamps goes in, doesn't kill Turkey Lips, and then just retreats. If you're not dying to try and get the medic there, then the whole Uber was pointless. And that leaves the enemy team using their advantage to either get third or get third and last. You know, so it really doesn't pay off for them. It's almost, you know, it's sort of like you said, it's kind of sad to see, like, what was it all for if that wasn't the idea.
Yeah. And when the objectives are kind of a little bit more you know, intangible, if they have times 3 on the cart and then you push them off for 10 seconds and then they go right back to times 3 on the cart, yeah, you didn't really accomplish much, right? You know, you didn't capture a point, and you only really stopped them momentarily. Particularly if you use an Uber charge. You know, if you can get frags, if you can stop the times 3, and you can create some space for yourself so that they can't just go right back to pushing. But basically, they just had to wait for one more wave of spawns, and then went right back to times 3. And they had an Uber charge advantage. So it was a tough situation, and now we're going to have the flip-flop classic ABBA of Ascent now getting the full chance to push here. This is a stressful situation. To be like, they just captured in 6 minutes, and then we just failed, and now we have to capture.
Like, and don't forget, if Feint does win this, we're going to Badwater as a tiebreaker for this best of 3, and we're only doing one half of Badwater. Yeah. So if Feint is showing how strong they are on payload, then the Ascent players are going to have a very hard time.
Yeah, it's pretty. And here we go with the Kritzkrieg on Podonsky. Does get Carson, who is on the Pyro, and Duck Rider going down. Nursey doing a good job staying up for the whole duration. Ended up getting a 3K, and Nursey is going to switch over to Medigun with the conclusion that Kritzkrieg going to help out as they push forward into the second point here.
Yeah, it's always nice to go for that little extra damage while your team is setting up and getting ready to go. And I also love that sentry gun way up top on hill from Spamfest. It's going to make it pretty hard for them to push in.
Yeah, definitely big confidence booster though. Getting that action. Patty's going to jump around. Great damage on a Turkey Lips and the dispenser. Not going to be able to get the kill, but is able to push Spamfest back far enough that with the Demo Man getting in here, not too many players forward, able to get the kill there. Mirror Man fighting underneath, does get the kill on Mela before going down. Trying to slow down the cart. Doesn't necessarily do so much damage there. We get the snipe on Space Ghost Coffee. Scratchy has gotten all the way behind on the spy here. But definitely taking a bit to get into position here. Waiting for it. Oh, Faint Gore just bumps into him though, so completely detected.
Oh, Scratchy sliding away with just 4 health, able to make it out. And now, a beautiful backstab from Duck Rider onto Nursey. This is going to let Faint push back in. They just now get the Ruber up, taking Def right into the cart, but Mela just about to cap it. Oh, and he does.
Nicely done.
So that's a capture going down, and that's moving the spawns forward for Ascent. So Faint better be turning tail and heading out as fast as they can, even with or without Def.
Yeah, that was definitely a good heads-up play by them. They got the stab on Nursey. Tried to get the Uber charge. I think they would have liked more out of that. But at the same time, if they could just delay Roller Coaster, they'll still be able to get another Uber charge for the main fight that'll happen on corner.
This is a good turnaround from Ascent to come in really hot. Now Faint is sort of on their heels, trying to get some footing. The Sentry Gun is at level 2 from Spamfest, working his way up there. Mirror Man getting a position to pressure the cart a little bit, but Mela sees him coming.
Yeah, so, Donsky stabbed down, and Turkey Lips actually gets an Ubersaw kill on Scratchy. Cart rolling downhill a little bit. They do have a few of these ramps here, and Yomps actually has to abandon it. So for now, the cart not going anywhere. Duck Rider gun down though. And certainly losing just your spy is a little bit more impactful in this Prolander setup versus Highlander. You don't have 8 players to cover before, you only have 6. Lost a higher percentage of your whole entire workforce.
Right now, Fallenlord set up very well. The Uber does come in with Yomps working forward, getting jumped by the gun. Oh, you can fly. But he ends up going down. Badonsky ends up going down. Now Daf working his way back in. Fallenlord gets taken down, but Daf responds with taking out Yomps. The cart's still all the way back on hill, but Nursey is the one pushing the cart. Mirrorman flying in, taking out Space Ghost Coffee. This fight looks like it's going in the way of Faint. They're able to just play back, keep the cart all the way at the bottom of this hill, and now they're all able to hold their ground.
Yeah, and fantastic work from Mirror Man. There was very low health, but continued to fight the Pyro and the Engineer before eventually coming back and getting heals. And again, this is a crucial section of the track because it doesn't seem like much, but the cart will roll backwards here. So if they don't actually get it all the way up, it goes back. And now they finally do get it. Yomps gets it up past that ramp. Mirror Man coming in, gets the frag, gets the health pack down low. We'll see that little sentry gun down there as well. Takes that out. And jump around the corner from Patty here, but gets shoved back. Very low health. Ends up cratering. Budonsky also getting an environment kill. Nursey forced to pop here as Mirror Man getting right in her face.
That's not what you want if you're Nursey. Dropping 2 of your explosive classes and then having to Uber anyway. Now Turkey Lips brings in Daff and Zaya just for fun on this Uber. Scratchy able to do the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, but it's not enough as Duck Rider is able to take him out on the low ground.
Yeah, that was a nice attempt by both him and Space Ghost Coffee to jump around the railworks there. A roller coaster and make a play happen. But again, another ramp getting stuffed. Yomps actually going forward to throw the milk out, but that is fairly detrimental to the progress of the cart.
And now here Ascent is able to put pressure in, and they're using that pressure to get cart time. This is what we were missing on that first half.
Yeah.
Mirrorman comes in to contest it, but look, Ascent is so set up, he's not able to get anything for it.
Yeah, definitely now they have a little bit more cohesion and forward pressure. Mela has gone down, but they still have 6 players compared to the 5 of Faint Gaming. Faint Gaming, they don't have the Uber charge right now, but they're about to get it. Trying to get in here with Daft, but the capture has happened. And looks like they'll have to back up here.
This is where you want to mount your very strong defense, especially with all these Highlander players on the side of
Yeah.
Feint. Holding in this upper area can be so powerful, as long as you lock down both staircases. And it'll be harder with only having 7 players instead of 9, especially with having a... Oh no, they don't have a spy, excuse me. So it's 7 players instead of 9, but here Fallen Lord able to take some shots. Turkey Lives, Mirror Man, Carson all set up on the high ground. Spamfest with the level 3, so we're set to have a very solid hold, and we currently have even Ubers.
Yeah, just ×1 on the cart as well. So again, they're the ones setting the pace. So if they're just getting ×1 during some of these sections, if we're able to get ×3 on the other time during these sections, it really just destroys the time, enables them to get a really quick capture. And we have Carson coming in from the flank, not able to get a kill on the medic. Would have loved to get Nursey there. Nursey is down to half health. And just the 3 players around the cart for the moment. Got some spawns coming up here. Podonsky sniped down. Mela goes down. So still not a whole lot of power on the corner here. Just Nursey and an engineer. And there wasn't really many players up for Feint Gaming there at the same time, but just didn't have the players in position to be able to capitalize on it. Patty getting sniped down, so not being able to get in here. Space Ghost Coffee also going down. And Duck Rider actually, as spy, just kind of creeps forward past cart and just sees what's going on. Is like, okay, not too worried about it. Does decloak now. Does get a pistol kill on Scratchy before going down to a combination of Mela and Yomps.
Carson up top just walks up Podonsky and I guess literally melts him. Now following up, getting Yomps and Patty. Carson just having a field day in this upper area. Coming to Turkey Lips for some buffs and then going and getting solid work done. Daff and Turkey Lips are very comfortable up here on this high ground. Space Ghost trying to work his way through main, and Podonsky coming in too, but then they end up getting flanked. They're pressured back, and they're just going to have to sit here and try another push.
That was a perfect little puff and sting from Carson, just getting a little bit of damage and a little how do you do, and then backing up. Just enough to scare Ascent and slow them down. Now the spy coming in, gets right in Nursey's face, that forces the Uber pop. Duck Rider gets finished off by the sentry gun, but now the counter Uber coming out that is going to trap Podonsky here. He does get taken down by the pipes. Looks like things. Oh, Pyro going in. No, okay. Again, just a little puff and run away. Fallen forward, snipe down. So yeah, Ascent going to be able to try to work this now. The gun getting upgraded up top, but it is staying up and gets a 2K. Spamfest now up to 3K. Spamfest gun does go down now finally, but after 3 kills, good job, well done. Duck Rider looking to come in from behind as well. Nursey not looking. Oh my God, loses the disguise. The sentry starting to shoot, but still got a 2K there before going down to the mini sentry. That was a huge stab.
Medic and sniper, that's probably the best you could ask for. And now, look at this, eXtine. Finally, Ascent is able to get the cart move forward, but they're not able to get the positioning. You know, Feint kind of always keeps the best of both worlds going. And now they actually have Mirror Man onto Heavy in this upper area. And now, Space Ghost trying to work his way in, while Duck Rider gets found out on the low ground. But looks like he's able to get out of there by, you know, thanking whichever star is looking for him.
And Carson comes in at the same time and gets Nursey. They are obsessed with Duck Rider. And Nursey goes down to the flank from the Pyro coming in from upstairs. That was another huge play. Nursey just not able to get anything going here. Yomp's gone down by Turkey Lips arrows. And Space Ghost Coffee goes down to Daft. Stickies at the same time as well. They do get the sentry gun, but there's still a full charge here. 6 minutes left on the clock. Ascent has a few players down low, but the Pyro Carson getting in their face, getting a kill on Scratchy and surviving. Mela got sniped down at the same time. Patty getting in towards the cart will reset the timer on it, but then he does just flee out of there. Does not want to stick around, does not want to get gunned down himself.
He does
Level
force
1
out
sentry
the
gun
on the Turkey Lips though, and now that's going to give Nursey a 90% on her Kritzkrieg. So now Patty and Podonsky working their way in towards main, but they're not even able to get close with this level 1 sentry. Now it's staying that way. Let's see what happens with the crits.
And Carson trying to jump in here. Nursey on the cart with the demo man. Few players pushing in. Can we get the Feint team out here to stop it? No, we cannot. But 9:52 is the time on the clock.
That's better for Ascent. It's a stronger showing, and it seems like they're starting to get, you know, get a little bit of what they're supposed to be doing. But 10 minutes up from 6 minutes, not exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. Subjectively stronger. They never got a chance to finish off their push last time, so we don't know if it would have been an 8-minute push, a 7-minute push, or a 12-minute push. It definitely felt better from them, but at the same time, they again kind of stammered around the third point and certainly suffered pushing into fourth. And again, just kind of harping on how, what you can't change when it really comes down to the wire, and you just can't change the fact that when you were on offense, you were just pushing ×1, or that, you let it slip backwards on these sections, that are sections that are unique. They're the only part of the map where the cart will just slide backwards. And so if you power it through it or you don't, that's a big difference. Nursey actually hiding right now, going all the way back, just completely staying up the hill, keeping her eye out for the spy. Daff comes out. They've gotten the sentry gun. Daff now getting gunned out, and here comes Nursey. So
this is big from Daff just getting the teleporter though, because it's going to be now 15-second respawn, now up to 25 seconds to walk all the way back.
Well, in Telly and Sentry, if you just got one of those, then he'll spend his time repairing it. But losing both of them, he's not going to get both of them up before they're pushing in.
Yeah, right now, Spamfest is onto heavy. Carson on Pyro. Turkey Lips gets forced out. She's able to catch Daff here, but Vidonsky and Mela getting flashing, being kept very healthy. Daff not even able to get close, and he ends up getting cleaned up.
Yeah, just the dispenser, which is sort of helpful, but I imagine we'll get rebuilt here pretty quickly. Indeed, it does, and also gets the teleporter exit. Besides all the metal that dispenser builds up, it also can sort of interfere with the ability to play on playground.
And, Carson putting in some solid downs in. And Nursey taking it down to half HP, but ends up getting traded for it. Now Patty stuck in the corner, gets given hard.
Oh, there we go. Nursey body shot it down. Fallen Gord had taken out Space Ghost Coffee earlier, so had gotten that extra room to work. Also gets Scratchy's sentry gun down. Spamfest continuing to push the point, and I think that was slower than Feint's defensive first push, but at the same time, Feint had a gun up on second, and right now Scratchy has nothing. Nursey just respawning, so they're gonna have a very large overcharge disadvantage. The cart being aggressively pushed underneath, and this is the situation where Ascent, it might be like, yeah, we have this area, this turf, but it just doesn't really matter because they're currently, compared to how their offense went, they're still losing really bad.
Yeah,
Cart just getting a lot of progress.
That's always very nice to see. Now, Nursey just coming up on almost 100%.
Oh,
that
nice ambush by Patty here. Doesn't get Turkey Lips, though. Huge frag by Duck Rider.
Carson getting the cart closer and closer. Mirrorman going for the big jump over the top.
Nicely
done.
A
little bit. Luckily, you don't take damage for that, but the gun does go down to Duck Rider in the end.
And we got a mini going up on the right-hand side here. Will just be annoying up, especially with the Wrangler. Nursey going down too, yeah.
That was a huge drop from Fallen Lord on the ridge, swinging all the way around and able to get the full charge body shot onto Nursey. So now the cart's working closer and closer. The gun is finally just now going down. Badonsky at half health. Mela and Yomps are ready to come in with the flank on this cart, but they're getting so pressured and have no heals, they just sort of have to back away from it.
Yeah, and now Yomps coming along on the flank. We'll see if we can get... Oh, no, spotted out. Probably called out, but definitely the demo was on top of that. And Mela going down right when Patty is bombing in. Patty does get... Or actually, no, Badonsky got the kill on Carson, but big numbers advantage for Feint Gaming. Hoovercharge fades, but the Wrangler having to switch targets. Turkey Lips knows what's up in terms of like, okay, well, yeah, I can just rotate in front, distract, and also we just need to get that capture. The cart, again, continuing to roll forward aggressively. Space Ghost Coffee sniping from Roller Coaster.
Now,
sniped down
taking out Space Ghost Coffee, so that's going to give a lot of room to Feint to push this cart forward. Once you get the sniper off Roller Coaster and a huge sightline into house and onto tracks, you're able to get the cart close and set your combo up without having to sweat too much. So Spamfest and Carson working the cart forward, joining Mirrorman. Badonsky, though, swinging wide on the tracks, stopping that cart, but he's got to keep an eye out for Fallen Lord, and you don't want to stay too long in those sightlines.
I'm a big proponent of cross training. You know, if you're trying to get better at esports, you should play some other games. You should mix it up. And the lesson I want to talk about, well, actually, we have an Uber charge here. I'll talk about it later. Oh my God, Mirror Man thrown off the cart. And that was actually a great Uber charge from Ascent in terms of timing. They really need to put a stop to that cart capture. Mela getting down here, causing a lot of trouble. Does get gunned down by Carson's shotgun. But that does put a stop to things for the moment. Carson trying to resume the push, but going to have some difficulties. Doesn't get pushed off, but that was pretty close. And does get gunned down by Patty, who's doing a lot of protection right now.
This is what Ascent needed, a nice time to reset and get a solid hold. They have a level 3 gun, they have their medic alive at 55%, they have the sniper alive and buffed. So now Feint are going to have to come up with some ideas, but dropping to Badonsky's trap is probably not one of them. So they lose that full advantage, sorry, that 40% advantage that they had, and now Feint is just getting cleaned up.
Yeah, that's a big frag for Ascent, you know, but still plenty of time to work with, and Feint just going to respawn, get set. Probably gives me plenty of time to go into my diatribe, and that was that, you know, in chess, when you're clearly ahead, a trade for a trade is great, you know.
Yes.
But really, the better chess players, they're forcing you into taking trades that seem like they might be okay, but really they're just not. They're just bad trades. And that was what the second point was about to me, where Feint was doing a really good job of getting a lot of trades. They were getting a trade after trade after trade, and then all of a sudden Ascent is like, wait, you know, we traded our sentry gun, we traded our Uber charge, we traded this, and we just don't have anything left. And I think that also sums up, you know, how they've been playing overall in this match. But now we definitely have Ascent set up very well here. Pyro going for the flank here, but gets shoved back by that gun. Can't deal with it by themselves. And
Nursey was so far forward on roller coaster that she just gets forced. Carson coming in from downtown takes out Yomps.
Oh my God,
almost gets Mela, but he takes down Space Ghost as well. That's a pretty quick 2 3/4 kills. And now Turkey Lips though taking the Uber in with that on the opening from Carson. They're able to get the gun nice and easy. Pressure Badonsky all the way back. Get ×3 on the cart. So this is a nice clean push, barring any acts of God, as it were.
Right, and again, like, let's just look how much turf they're getting, and how hard all of that turf was for Ascent Gaming when they had to take this territory. And Nursey gets stabbed down. No.
I just got so excited that they took down Daff when it mattered very much, but Dark Rider coming back in with the spy play.
And they don't even kill Turkey there. Yomp's trying to get the chase in now. Might do it, but no, again, doesn't get the kill on Turkey. And they've thrown so much in at the cart and at Turkey Lips, and they've just given up so much time and space. I mean, they don't have to hold for too long here, but they have a very limited defense going right now. And Duck Rider coming up top is going to be able to get the sap while there's pressure on the gun. Easily scenario to jump up and duck around. Continued pressure on Nursey on other players. Nursey down low. Nursey running crit streak as well.
Yeah, Yams and Mela able to get some picks, but right now Turkey Lips and the team getting the cart closer and closer. We do end up losing Mirror Man also on the flank, but you know, Turkey Lips is just now taking the Uber in, bringing Daft farther forward. Spamfest gets taken out on Scout, which is not so great for the cart presence. Turkey Lips and Daft committing all the way in, but Patty with a huge jump onto Daft, taking them out. Carson falls as well. This is going to give Ascent a lot more time to get a full defense going.
Yeah, good frags for sure. The crit screen is going to be called out though, so that turns it into an interesting situation for sure. They're going to try to come out here and use it.
Woo!
And they do get Turkey Lips
all the way at the corner manages to snipe Turkey Lips. Beautiful.
Yeah, that was a huge frag for sure. And really, Daff is trying to hold back there, but I feel like they should have just sent their scout back there instantly after dropping Turkey Lips to be like, you're going to need to build. But they should be able to get it in charge, but it's going to come down to this like final push, this final last minute here. Getting some good pressure on the cart, but it's going to get cleared out, just getting a little bit of extra space here. But now Fallen Gourd eats Mela's shotgun at point blank. Mela, as a very distinguished pro player, would have thought a little bit crisper with those shotguns. Didn't get a lot of damage directly.
Both meds just over 60% here. Nursey, if she heals a little more, there we go. We'll have for just a few seconds before Turkey Lips.
Great dodges by Turkey Lips on Stairwell. Really showing experience playing this area. Patty rotating in, but didn't get any kills. Space goes Coffee down. So many plays here that are down. Here comes the crits again. Ubercharge is ready. 20 seconds on the clock. Now is the time. So many players down for Ascent. Yomps is up. Patty across. The cart is moving across. Patty forced to jump up and back. Yomps fighting on the side. Cart just being pushed forward fast, rapidly. Seconds left on the clock, but there you go. 4-second window. Feint Gaming take the second set. They take the match. And Ascent Gaming, they lose the map. Not the match. Not the match. Just the map. I was excited. I was excited.
You think you're excited now? We're about to go into a third map. The most exciting. We have a tiebreaker.
Oh, man.
Yep. One half of Badwater coming up. But you have to really give it to Feint Gaming here and Ascent. Ascent had big improvements from that first half, but Feint were still so resilient and so resolute with their game plan. They're able to take the win out in the end, and they really grinded for it with, what was that, 4 seconds left on the clock?
Yeah. And, you know, medic is one of those positions where the actions of the medic are very much determined by the actions of their teammates. That said, you know, the actions of Nursey towards the end of that just really unraveled it all. We're that last Uber exchange by Roller Coaster, and I don't know what happened. Again, like, you're having these defensive Ubers where they're just working really, really far away from the cart, and then they're just like dying afterwards. And then, you know, being forced to, like, you know, you lose like Nursey, or at least you lose the player that Nursey Ubers in, and then like Nursey's on the way back. But like while everybody was scattering, they like killed other players behind. Nursey doesn't really have too many players to retreat to. And then at the same time, they've been like pushing the cart, because Nursey and that Uber were just like pushing the team back, not really necessarily fighting around the cart while also fighting the medic, you know. So you really have to be careful, you know. You can't use, I mean, you know, definitely open to other interpretations, but my feeling is in that defensive situation, you have to be very careful about trying to use your Uber charge to chase non-existent things, you know. You want to make them commit to an Uber charge and then Uber charge after, so that they have to wait for a full another cycle. But instead, if you Uber first and you run into them, man, you need to get that kill. And even if you kill the medic, that's sort of what I was getting at in terms of trades. It's just like not really a trade if you end up just unraveling your entire defense because you traded your medic for their medic. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, after all the years of me personally looking up to Nursey, and everyone in Highlander and Sixes too looking up to Nursey, she again has doubled the deaths of Turkey Lips. Turkey Lips dying 3 times and Nursey dying 7 in just this half. So, you know, it's begging a lot of questions with what's going on. Even at the end, you know, Nursey and Badowski get the snipe onto Turkey Lips, but their options either build fast enough where you can crit her again before she has Uber, which didn't happen, or switch back to Uber with all the time that you have, also didn't happen. So what is going on the side of Ascent? Hopefully they're able to get some cohesion back together for this third map of Badwater that we have coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and you look at the chart of where those deaths came from. She got stabbed, I assume stabbed 3 times by the spy, and she got dropped to the sniper twice. So out of 7 deaths, when, you know, 2 of those are sniper and 3 a spy, it's kind of tough to harp on that too hard. I know that one of the spy stabs definitely were a little too far focused looking forward. We do have bans underway as well we should talk about, and again, a lot of heavy weapons bans coming out of the gate. Tomislav and Natasha, comfortable bans for Ascent 1-2. Taking a little bit more time with it now, and man, Carson played great that map. Definitely doing a lot more work on Pyro versus trying to bring the engineer destruction. And now the third ban being used on the Wrangler, where again, Feint Gaming choosing to attack Mela a little bit with the Degreaser, which I think is a fantastic choice. And they're going for the save on the short circuit, which is definitely an interesting choice. Something we haven't seen a lot of, but you can imagine that Spamfest is going to be pretty comfortable using it, particularly, you know, deciding to use their one save on it. And that's going to be very helpful with the keeping the initial sentry up, I feel.
Absolutely, especially on a map like Badwater where your holds live and die by your sentry gun, especially on first, on third. You know, that is your lifeline when you're holding these points. So doing whatever you can to keep it alive is going to be so important.
I like the Cloak and Dagger ban, you know, just assuming that Spamfest is going to do a great job for them on Engineer. You got to be like, well, if we have a sentry setup, we have a defensive setup rolling, then we don't want to give them the capability to just run some cheesy spy who can sit there and be like, okay, now we should go, you know. Getting rid of that Cloak and Dagger definitely kind of forces any spy plays to be a little bit more active.
And it's interesting to see from Ascent across all three games, the first two bans were the Tomislav and Natasha. But in each game, you know, Carson is still able to make it work anyway. But Feint are spending all of their bans on specific classes and different strategies. You know, they ban the Pyro stuff now, probably not going to run Pyro as much, just like on the last map. So we see Feint really not cerebral with their bans, but keeping their heads in the right place with it. And Feint, hope, you know, as we saw from the last map, we're able to do some good work with it regardless. So
yeah, and I guess maybe the deeper aspect that I was searching for when we were going through the last bans, you know, the discussion about Tomislav and Natasha and the impact of them, you know, I think it is that question of whether you're using your bans on basically like numerical bans or you're using your bans on strategical bans. So I would consider, right, you know, like the Tomislav is basically a numerical ban. You're saying, okay, well, if Carson uses that, if we ban the Tomislav, then he will have a lower DPS and will not be able to do that, you know, right, as effectively. But I think that, you know, teams are probably going to find that in the most case, you know, most cases it's probably better to focus on the strategical bans versus how you want to play a map, how you might think another team is going to play a map. And, you know, definitely kneecapping a player is part of that strategy, but you know, there's more of an incentive to go for stuff like banning the Jarati, banning the Cloak and Dagger, banning the Kritzkrieg, you know, banning the Wrangler for sure, you know, stuff that, you know, teams really can do certain tactics, certain defensive strategies or offensive strategies that you don't want to deal with or you feel that are super strong. So
yeah, and this map we're only doing one half, so the entire offense or defense you're running is going to be completely touch and go. You know, there's no adapting or figuring out better classes for next time because there is no next time. You know, you have to cap first and second and third and last, and then after that, that's what your tournament live is riding on. So you have to come in as strong as you can.
Yeah, we should point out, I mean, a big theme, you know, my journey with the Burnsiders, I talk a lot about professionalism and just, you know, approaching everything. I mentioned the word and the term earlier in the cast of watching, you know, Nursey make sure to get the sticky setups and the crits into the Uber charge. But also, you know, important part of professionalism is the preparation that you take into getting ready to play. And I want to point out that it's a best of one set. And also that Ascent Gaming basically did not participate in the map pick process. They did not contribute communication into that thread. Thus, they were issued a small penalty for the infraction of not communicating in the pre-match dialogue. And as a result of that, Feint have the opportunity to pick their side in every single map that we've played tonight. So we're only playing one set, and Feint can choose to either put the foot on the gas and play offense first, or to put their faith in Spamfest to feel like they've downtrodden Ascent enough that they can play defense and they can get a really long time buffered, and then they can push offense in the second half. There's going to be a little bit of personal preference there, but we're only playing one set, and the control, the decision is in Feint Gaming's hands.
Yeah, and now with Feint choosing to defend, and again, let's not forget too that Feint Gaming are the 3rd seed and Ascent are the 4th.
Yeah.
So despite the firepower coming out of Ascent, they were, I guess, technically the underdogs coming into this. You know, especially with such a rocky season that they've been harboring. But they did come in pretty strong on Asheville. Again, if you weren't with us earlier, that map was 3-1 going to Ascent, but now Feint Gaming retaliating with a 2-0 on Upward. So we're going to have to see, you know, if they're able to put forth that last-ditch effort and pull out a fast cap point on this map. And the fans are asking for a prediction, eXtine, so what are you thinking?
I think Feint Gaming has this, man. I know for sure from my time in RGL last season that there's definitely a big difference between Koth and Payload, how your team feels about it, the confidence of it. And just, you know, the difficulties of this format and TF2 overall. And, you know, I knew that things were going to be different on Upward, but I did not think that they were going to be that different. And that gives me a lot of confidence going into this best of 1 in Feint Gaming in Spamfest. It really is anybody's game, but, you know, it's going to be harder for these players that have been playing 6s on the side, you know, more so than players that you have to assume are playing a Highlander on the side, to just step into this map, to get into the mindset, to use their Ubers and their whole teamwork to push and defend effectively. To just step right up and do it, I really feel that Feint Gaming is going to be able to do it. But as we pointed out and said time and time again, there's a lot of quality on Ascent, so you just never know. How do you feel about it?
This really is sort of a not a Cinderella story ending, but very, very not poetic either. I don't know. My brain is very small. I can't think of the word right now.
Hubris?
But maybe it's just an interesting ending because Ascent just lost 0-2 on the last Payload map, but when they played Badwater last week, they won 2-0. So they can play this map to at least some capacity. So it's going to be interesting to see, are they able to keep that hustle up from last week, but are they going to keep any cart presence like they didn't really have in that last map?
Yeah.
So I think I got to give it to Feint, especially I think Feint makes a little fewer mistakes than Generations from last week. So I think Feint has this, but I mean, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, and if we're holding to our hypothesis that, you know, the Highlander expertise, the stopwatch background is sort of what led them, you know, to victory on Upward, I would like to concede that, you know, the map knowledge, map to map, is a big thing, and it's definitely very possible that Patty or Scratchy or, you know, Yomps or Space Ghost Coffee are just more comfortable on this map versus Upward. And it definitely is a whole nother world. Just going to be one set, though. And looks like we have the Kulong heater up. So some interesting weapons getting called up to duty.
Looks like Ascent made a mistake in their bans, because here we go. They actually opted to put Duck Rider onto Heavy and not Carson, too.
Yeah, it could all be a troll. We will have to see. As looks like Yomps... Or sorry, not Yomps, but Nursey checking out what the heavy weapons guy was spawning, or if they're running a heavy weapons guy. So that is going to show up. But Duck Rider indeed staying heavy weapons guy.
This time on the regular minigun, we're not going to have that much fun tonight, but you know, we'll see if he decides to change his mind. So right now on the defensive side, we have an engineer, we have a heavy, we have pyro, we have no spy, and no scout. Can you believe that, eXtine?
Yeah, that's interesting, but it makes sense considering the circumstances. And Scratchy coming from behind here, really attentive eyes would have noticed the pack disappearing. And unlucky as Carson bumps into him, gets spotted out and gunned down. Definitely going to help everything stay up here. Spamfest gets sniped down, though.
Man, Space Ghost gets traded for it, but that's a very solid opening. You know, he was able to work so far forward, and I don't know if you noticed Spamfest's gun all the way forward on this rock.
Yeah.
Right now, a solid fight happening in tunnel, too. Yomps ends up going down, and so does Patty, but they push Fallen Lord and Carson all the way back. And right now, Scratchy is going right back in for another play.
Yeah, Spamfest respawned there, so in the end, they didn't necessarily accomplish a whole lot. They did get a decent start on pushing the cart, but this is another kind of clutch moment here. Ubercharge coming in. There's the sap as well, so nice sap by Scratchy. Spamfest is going to recall, so it looks like they're probably... Okay, no, he's just going to resupply on metal and stuff. Switches to the mini sentry as well. And cart battle going down, but Carson is the one who is going to die there. Daft gets a kill on Space Ghost Coffee. Scratchy staying right on this upper ground here, trying to get a stab in on Turkey Lips, but spotted out. It doesn't happen. Goes down. The cart has been stuffed for the moment as well. Nursey goes down in tunnel. Spamfest, I don't know if he made the full loop there. Probably did. Got the big frag.
We have Space Ghost Coffee here, set pretty close and having a little bit of a bead on the upper area. Ready for Follower to peek the angle. Follower only gets body shot for it and is able to reset. Right now, Ascent working all the way uphill. But don't forget, Spamfest is only on minis here, so they're going to be able to get in a little easier. But Duck Rider getting arrowed, staying very healthy, and able to fend off Patty from that jump all the way from tunnel.
Yeah, and finally the snipe coming in, getting Turkey Lips. Yomp's been held at bay, though, on the cart itself. So it goes down, and there's just not really many blue players in position to push. So I'm sure the retreat has been sounded at this point. They can't hold it anymore. Carson just trying to get away with his life. Same thing with Daff. They've gotten upstairs. Space Ghost Coffee going to be trying to get a pick off. Okay, no, now it's Patty. Big jump. Oh, my God. Going for Turkey Lips and gets the kill. I think it was the arrows there giving Turkey Lips away. That is a big loss. It's going to be very helpful for Ascent here.
That's exactly the kind of mistake that Ascent are looking for Feint to be making. Right now, Nursey has a full Uber. They have ×3 on the cart. They're able to now push straight into third. It was a little bit of a while taken to cap first, at 2.5 minutes. Not the best, but not bad, They're only 3 minutes into this round. And they're
oh my God,
Scratchy.
Set. Yeah, Scratchy with the face stab on Spamfest. And that's another big pickup, and those exactly are the type of plays that you really need to make sure are happening. Instead of getting ahead of the cart and just chasing stuff with Uber charges, getting in, taking out the key players, and hindering this forward hold. But that Uber charge and weird uses of it seems like I was just trying to make a joke, and they kind of proved me right once again. Would you disagree? That seemed like a terrible Uber.
Yeah, you hate to see it, It was such a nice opening from Scratchy, but then, Duck Rider holding the high ground, Feint just kind of kiting it. And it's like we saw in the last map. No matter how far Ascent wants to get with their players, what's important is how far you get with the cart. So with the cart being so far back and the player's not really set yet, they don't really get that much to speak for. And Turkey Lips now is all the way up to 85%. Duck Rider going all the way onto the ground, able to take out Mela, but Scratchy ends up getting the trade. Now, there's a mini sentry going up from Scratchy on the cart, and they're getting the cart very close. Turkey Lips does have full Uber and is sitting here with Daft as they bring it in, and takes Spamfest along for the ride, coming in with a short circle.
Yeah, why not?
Daft putting in so much damage, taking out Scratchy and Space Ghost, which is not bad, but Nursey does manage to escape, and is up to a solid 100%, and comes right back over the Yomps.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're really going to be able to finish this capture, though, with Carson getting in here. And Yomps now turning around, does get Mirror Man up top, but the cart is kind of stabilized for the moment. They've lost Daft, though. Now they've lost their heavy weapons guy as well. It was Duck Rider having to back up on corner. And Spamfest hustling back. Just got a level 1 here, putting it on the left side for now. Okay, actually it was very close by a level 2, so it's up to level 2 already. Tucking it back, nice smart play here. Yeah, keeping it up.
Right now, Turkey Lips has a decent 25% advantage, but look how many Ascent players are here, and look how far in they are. Spamfest trying to fight with everything he's got, not able to survive. Carson trying to push a little bit farther forward. Turkey Lips taking out Patty. Right now, Mirrorman taking out Yomps as well. So this is a nice cleanup coming in from the side of Feint. But hopefully it's enough. Mercy backs out. Mela goes down for it. Badonsky's out. Carson going in for a little bit of a poke here and there. Still pressuring him just for fun. But now Turkey Lips comes up in the Uber and they're able to hold.
Yeah, Spamfest up now, so we'll see if they're able to get the full reset on their equipment. I want to point out Mirror Man in that exchange. Mirror Man coming through map room was a big part of that. Scratchy was getting a sentry gun set up, and he was just able to get a lot of free action from that flank play. But now it's Ascent coming from map room. They've been spotted out, though. Will they get stuffed here? Carson throws the air blast out. That puts Yomps at a weird spot. Patty jumping up top is going to be cordoning off Fallen Gord. But now Patty just stuck up top, jumping in, but going to just get destroyed. So many players have faint there. No progress on the cart. Fallen Gord gets sniped down, but Goes Coffee on corner with a lot of pressure coming in at him. Going to get shoved back. Yeah, Mela trying to jump in, trying to get something happening. Wasn't going to. Carson gets a kill on the sniper. Space Ghost Coffee. They're going to back up, and that forces Ascent to reset.
Mela opting to depart from this world and surrender himself to the sentry gun for not much reason. But yeah, I gotta give it a question mark why Ascent had 5 players in map room that they had to then flash and have a bad Uber for. So this is going to give a lot of breathing room to Turkey Lips and have a much better Uber. Right now, we have Patty flying all the way in. Spamfest gun ends up taking him out, but he does get at least 1 rocket off on the Fallen Blade, so it's something.
Yeah, interesting engagement there by Ascent, trying to dry push it. Now they've gotten the kill on Fallen Gord. That's real nice. They're actually going for a pretty big flank here, coming through tires and then just ending up by corner again. So, all right. But Ubercharge is out here, Yomps and Badonsky. But they've gotten the sentry gun. The Brass Beast is out, but Duck Rider getting double teamed by Yomps and Patty. A lot of frags coming out here. This is going to get real tough for Faint real quick here, as Turkey Lips is trying to fight Yomps in the side room, chasing him up the ladder, gets shot down at the bottom. Some frags coming in. What the heck?
Where are all the players going, eXtine? There's 3 people left alive on this server. Yomps hit 20 health, end up getting taken down. Fallen Lord and Mirrorman get the 2v4 clutch.
What a body shot by Fallen Gord there. And again, it's just like, it's just tough to see that. Yeah, I don't know where all the players went to. It was such a great push from him at the start, but they just couldn't keep up the momentum. Duck Rider has gone down. 15 seconds on his spawn timer, but there goes Scratchy. Not the biggest loss. Turkey Lips, unfortunately, that is a big loss.
Bodied. Jesus.
Yeah. And they want to get out here. They're going to go the tire route, which is going to take a little while to get around here. Carson sees it coming. It's going to, oh no, but Yomps does get the kill on Carson. Too many deaths on red team.
Even Spamfest and the level 3 going down. Now, Ascent is able to swarm the cart. Nusa getting set up very solidly. Duck Rider going down. Mirrorman not able to make anything out of it. So this is an 8.5 minute time for Ascent. Okay. It's not bad. It's not the best. You know, maybe 7.5 minutes is where you're thinking this is solid, but 8.5 minutes can work.
Yeah. And I think that's one where you feel like you mostly won it versus making a lot of mistakes and struggling. You know, they seemed like they were capitalizing on the mistakes of Faint Gaming. They had some difficulties in the beginning, but, you know, 3rd point and the majority of pushing last went pretty smoothly for him.
Yeah, and they didn't even have to push into 2nd, if you remember, from all the amazing plays coming out of, who was it? Patty jumped all the way in and got like a 3K.
Yeah.
So, very solid showing out of Ascent. Well, not very solid, you know, decently solid.
Yeah. So. Solid enough to give them a really strong fighting chance here, for them to feel confident on defense. I don't think Faint Gaming is going to completely be questioning their lifestyle choices of playing defense first. I think they're going to feel fairly comfortable with this. But if things go wrong, they might start to panic.
Yeah, that's what you're always keeping your eye out for, and sort of a worst case scenario if that's what's happening to your team. Yeah. Now here we have Duck Rider on the spy and Spamfest on scout, so no engineer for the offense. But we do have that spy going in for the stab or the stab. Death flying in, does take out the gun right away. Nice and easy.
Yeah, I thought I saw Nursey go down, but I was mistaking players from distance, and it was Scratchy who went down. Space Ghost Coffee also getting sniped down. We'll see if the spy tries to get in here before Scratchy gets back up, but probably will see the respawn from Scratchy. Gets bumped into, so Duck Rider has to bump all the way down. Mela's going to jump down on top of cart, and we'll see if Duck Rider tries to decloak here and get in on the combo. Does get bumped into and called out. Meanwhile, though, upstairs has been flooded by blue team. Turkey Lips is going to pop the Uber charge as the engineer comes out here. And he just had Daff with him, though, so kind of a weird
Yeah, that's not what you want to see.
It's,
Just sort of leaving Daft for dead here. I mean, they at least forced the Uber out of Ascent, but, you know, it's not like the gun was going to do that much anyway. So I'm wondering what that was about. And Turkey Lips does go down for that. That's going to give a 25% advantage to Nursey. So
yeah.
what was it all for?
I think they put the cart before the horse there a little bit, because Daft got separated. It wasn't really Turkey Lips' fault, but Daft started falling down to the lower ledge. He started falling down to down below, and Scratchy came through the teleporter and then dropped off a level 2 center gun. So if he just stayed there and killed the dispenser, killed the teleporter, killed the engineer, they wouldn't be having the problem that they're having right now.
Right, and now Space Ghost gets a nice snipe off onto Daft. So there's not going to be enough spam to do that much on the high ground. You know, Tech Rider and Turkey Lips working their way up.
Mirror Man on the direct hit gets gunned down. Gonna get a little bit of pressure on the cart here from Carson, while some players trying to attempt to get some action up top, but just Carson going down as a result.
Yeah, we do have Spamfest switching from Scout to NG and Deck Rider from Spy to Scout. So this is going to give them a little bit of cover from the flankers and stuff, and maybe teleporters in the future. But for right now, they don't really have so much of a leg to stand on. Nursey coming in with the Uber, taking Yelps very deep. Turkey Lips not even noticing that they're coming in. Doesn't run away, but now she finally forces the Uber at just 40 health, able to take Daft and Deck Rider in with this Uber. They got a couple picks here and there, but the gun's still up. Nursey is still fully healthy. They're not really getting too far with it. Daft even now getting pressured all the way back. Mela running straight in, trying to fight Turkey Lips, but not able to get anything.
They did get the gun eventually, but Space Ghost Coffee climbing the rocks gets a nice kill. Here comes Mela as well, taking down Daft. And Daft having some issues staying alive. Carson getting some time on the point, dragging people back a little bit, but you know, psychologically, if I'm a team that feels really super confident in my deathmatch, I definitely would rather be playing defense second to end the game.
This is coming down to the wire, eXtine. This is 3 minutes. Over 3 minutes now ticked off. Patty coming with a huge jump, taking out Spamfest. He ends up getting traded for it. He was going to have a long respawn, but, you know, just getting into disrupting is very strong. Turkey Lips and Daft working their way in, trying to spam, but they're not going to have Uber for another 15 or so seconds.
Yeah.
And, the gun does go down, though, thanks to Mirror Man.
Okay, and there's Scratchy as well. Mirror Man jumping over to the cart, trying to get pressure on the cart. And here comes Duck Rider coming in from behind. Just forces the pop off from Nursey, though, because they still have the Uber charge and not going to be able to get out there. Oh, yeah, this is tough.
Man, Space Ghost coming in clutch there with a shot onto Turkey Lips. Like, they won the fight, but now they also won the next, 45 seconds until Feint can get another Uber. At this point, Feint is going to have to roll all the way into last, because they haven't gotten first yet, and there's still 4 minutes at best on this clock, you know? Mirror Man going in best. Oh, gets the gun somehow while he's juggled, and gets a second on the cart to stop it from rolling back. Everyone from Feint just sacking for this cart. They take down Mela. They get so far forward. Nursey down to just 1/3 health. Carson flying in. Takes down another 2 with Duck Rider. Now it's just Podolsky and Scratchy having to run for their lives, but the teleporter is still up. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, Feint just breathed some life into this game, though. That was a hugely important push. I was about to get really downtrodden on their performance thus far. And how they've been able to get out here, but they somehow pulled all those frags out and are getting really good time and pressure on the cart right now. Carson staying alive for a good chunk there. Spamfest now shotgunning on the cart, gets the kill on the sniper. Patty has to drop down here, but forced into a little shoddy fight. Goes down. Yomps, big frags on the side, finally goes down, but gets the kill on Turkey Lips. The cart's still going to continue to be pushed. So not the biggest loss because they're able to get time here, and they're keeping things within the scope of reality. So that's nice for sure.
Yeah, and I always like to see, I don't know how to phrase the push, but just the kind of pushes where you get the point because you want it, and that is the strat. So they just decided after all that time clicked off, they just wanted the cart, and then they got it. So now they were able to get second off it just because, you know, it's such a scrappy fight and the respawns are so long for Ascent. We have Mirror Man peeking in, and Fallen Guard gets Yomps. So this is going to be a little bit of an opening for Feint.
And again, they don't really have a lot of big frags, but they're still just progressing the cart at a very good pace. Here's the Ubercharge exchange here as they back out. If they can get a good solid re-engagement, maybe get some frags as Ascent overreaches, and Ascent indeed has lost 2. It's just, even numbers right now. They did get 1 player respawning, but they're not very close. And Yomps, big frag on Carson. Might get a second here. Mirror Man does survive for now. Just staying down low, hoping for help. Ends up using the gunboats to get away. 2 minutes left on the clock. They're going to have the Uber charge now. They want to take this in with Daff. Comes out, nicely used around the corner. Level 3 up top, gun down. Daff kind of gets separated. I think he's going to survive that.
MLG arrow. He does survive, but look at this collapse now. Once the combo from Feint is backing up, Ascent collapses here. Feint is able to get the cart, but this is, don't forget, going to leave Nursey on something like a 75% advantage. So Nursey going up on her Uber now. Turkey Lips only 25. Daff is able to press in. They have a minute and a half on the clock. They're going to have really 1 Uber, maybe 2. So we're going to have to see what they're able to do.
And they have to be a little bit careful here. They send the sack in. They just need to make sure that they keep their medic up. We might see an aggressive Uber charge from Ascent here. Seems like they want to do it to try to get Turkey Lips, but instead Turkey Lips going to back out. And that's fine for Feint right now. I mean, they still have a tough road ahead of them, but at the moment, that's fine.
Not a bad idea, but I don't think Turkey Lips was healing for a lot of that because he's only at 60%. So this is going to leave you with only 1 Uber really for the rest of the point, and Nursey still has hers as well. Fallen Lord is going to be the person you look to for an opening, but he gets taken down right away from Space Ghost.
That's a tough.
Yeah, 15 minutes second. 50 seconds. Oh, not 50 minutes.
Yeah, that's a tough one because they've already lost enough players here that you can't really afford to sack more players in without just exposing Turkey Lips and the risking a really early pop. Patty up top now. They're going to go in with this. They need to. It's so far back, though. We still have the counter Uber, especially with Mela there. Hit the reflect.
Turkey Lips using so early and flashing so many players. Carson and Daff putting in good damage on the cart. Duck Rider coming in from the side as well. We have a damage going back and forth. Mela coming in with a lot of damage. Yomps now pushing onto the cart. He goes down for it. There's 15 seconds on the clock. They have ×1, now ×3 on the cart. But the level 3 is still set up on the right side. Feint losing player after player, eXtine. And there's 7 seconds left. This is it. It's done. It's over.
Yeah, indeed it is. Nice attempt by Feint Gaming. But in the end, Ascent, eking it out. Skin of their teeth. Their offensive push proves to be just quick enough. And their defense just strong enough to keep Ascent in the lead. Keep their stopwatch time just good enough to end up with that final set on Badwater. Definitely would be curious, if it was another best of 3. But it was a long enough overall best of 3. I agree with the format. I like the format. And, an excellent showing tonight. I felt that Feint, really did a great job on Upward, but some of the issues that, Ascent had maybe manifested themselves a little bit less on Badwater, and they were just clicking a little bit more. And that first hold was definitely real instrumental. Always with losing a stopwatch match, you're always like, oh, just if only we had 1 more minute, we totally would have pushed it all the way from second to last,
Yeah.
Like it's always real easy to create that narrative in your mind, but you definitely have to wonder if they were able to get that first point, a minute more, that could have enabled them to have 2 Ubers and be less rushed towards the end. So it really definitely comes down to, a few key plays. And as I think I mentioned, Ascent definitely had on their offense. They definitely had a few key plays that really opened things up to them for them, and it's cool to see that. Great to see that a match really just comes down to a few key knife edge moments that could have gone either way. But in the end, one player getting the frag over the other is what determines the course of the match. So.
Yeah, especially with some of these players, having these star plays and then others keeping up with such good consistency. The top 3 frags on the server, Space Ghost with 22, Yomps 21, Patty 20. And, unfortunately on the side of Feint, Mirror Man going 5 or 19, 200 DPM was struggling to get in the game. Now, finally, Nursey has half the deaths of Turkey Lips, Nursey having 4, Turkey Lips having 8. So that really,
Hmm.
sort of paints the picture of how the holds go and how the pushes go, especially
Yeah.
with Badonsky on almost 400 DPM in such a
Yeah.
nail biter doing work for his team.
Yeah, for sure. Patty and Yomps both found their rhythm a lot more on the second map. I didn't think that Patty necessarily had the strongest showing on upward. He was having a little bit more of an issue getting in on upward and finding the frags. But on Badwater here, he did a great job on defense and then was able to bounce around on offense and really be a disastrous presence on the battlefield. People talking about, definitely Fallen Gord not having the same sort of success in this map, and I think that's for sure. That Space Ghost Coffee, at some of the clutch moments, was still alive and putting out frags and damage and making a big difference. Mirror Man also having a really tough last map there.
Yeah, with all these players playing, some of them so well and some of them struggling, it also just has to be painted in the picture that Ascent coming in with a 4-minute hold on first is exactly what they needed.
Oh
Close
yeah,
plays here and there from both
yeah.
sides, but if they don't get that hold on first, this is a very different game. It did come down to the wire, and Faint were fighting until the end. But just when you have such little time to work with, and Ascent are still able to get a solid setup on third and get a solid setup on last, there's not so much that you could do, even with very solid pushes. So it's great play from coming out of both teams, especially Ascent just getting better and better, getting rolled almost the first round of payload, then doing a little better on the second round of payload. Now this third round on Badwater, able to pull out the win. So it's good to see that progression and that adaptation. But you got to feel for the guys on Faint because they played some good Team Fortress.
Yeah, and definitely real excited to see them match up against Velocity Esports in our semifinals, which I believe will be taking the week off essentially and trying to catch them in between the 28th and the 4th. So looking forward to that, but have a little bit of a gap before the RGL playoffs resume. We're going to have another best of 3 there, actually best of 3s all the way through. And then Ascent Gaming, if they're able to beat Velocity Esports, will continue their underdog Cinderella story and fight Froyotech for that money in the grand finals. $1,200 going towards the first place winner. $3,000 prize pool overall. Big ups to Sigafu and the RGL.GG staff for getting all this together. Fantastic league. If you're interested in the Prolander format, then please check out the RGL.GG Discord and the pugs that happen through that. It is a grand old time, and well, I had a lot of fun here tonight. Rogue, thanks for joining me, man. Any final words from you?
It was such a pleasure to be here with you, eXtine, and I'll always give a shout out to the man behind the camera, which this time just so happens to be Sigafu. So shout out to Shigafu for doing that. Shout out to Billy Saurus, who's a good friend of mine, and Mandry, and my girlfriend Lizzie if she's watching. So I had a lot of fun next time, and this is a great game to cast. And congratulations, to Faint for coming in 4th place in the playoffs because that's a nice paycheck for them no matter what.
Yep, that's true for sure. Well, Rogue, thanks so much for joining me. I just want to shout out to Portland Burnsiders real quick, my boys. But that'll do it for us tonight. Hopefully, I will be joining you guys next time for our cast of Velocity Esports versus Ascent Gaming. Maybe Rogue will be there. Sigafu might be there. Either way, regardless, it is going to be a party. Thanks again so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I am eXtine, and we will see you guys next time. Peace out.